4301. 4301. Chapter 4301, The Hidden Region. The Lord of Slaughter sped through the virtual world with Lin Moyu, recounting what had happened back in those years. At the time, he had only just awoken from his long silence. To hide his identity, he had suppressed his own strength and split off a wisp of his soul to remain dormant, thus creating the illusion that he was still in deathly slumber. In the Origin Return land, the Great Daos were separated by the barriers of domain rules. As long as the disguise was convincing enough, it was easy to fool the other eternal beings. The Lord of Slaughter had done exactly that and had successfully fooled the human emperor. Reviving from his slumber, he disguised himself under another identity and began to slowly recover, aiming to return to his peak. During this process, he learned of some of the human emperor's schemes, so he created another incarnation, this one to serve as the Lord of the Slaughter domain. As for his true body, in one unexpected opportunity, he stumbled upon a special place. It was there that he obtained the black-blue dagger and the Dao-hiding black robe. The Dao-hiding black robe allowed him to evade the senses of the Great Dao and even avoid certain domain rules. With it, many things could be done completely without a trace. It was precisely because of that robe that the Lord of Slaughter had been able to return to the Great Dao without alarming anyone, stepping back into eternity without a sound. The black-blue dagger itself carried a curse: once stabbed, both the target's soul and body would be tainted. Even an eternal would be injured by it and might need hundreds of years to recover. For those below the eternal level, a single graze from the dagger's edge would severely damage the very foundation of their Dao. At best, their cultivation would plummet, at worst, they would die outright. Both the black-blue dagger and the Dao-hiding black robe were low-grade chaos-tier treasures to cultivators inside a domain. They were treasures of unimaginable value. With these in hand, the Lord of Slaughter had confidence in toppling the human emperor. And indeed, he had accomplished his goal, biding his time for countless years, even going so far as to send his nurtured incarnation straight to the human emperor, lulling him into lowering his vigilance. Finally, at the very moment of the human emperor's transcendence, he had delivered a near-fatal blow. The human emperor did not die, but tainted by the curse of the black-blue dagger, his path to transcendence now faced countless obstacles, all while the Lord of Slaughter was watching from the shadows. The human emperor's future was bleak. Lin Moyu, however, was not interested in the personal feud between the Lord of Slaughter and the human emperor. That was someone else's business, and he did not care to pry. The Lord of Slaughter led Lin Moyu to a desolate patch of the void far from every great spirit domain, a vacuum zone where not even a single void beast could be found. Lin Moyu could feel the age in this place. No one had been here for a very, very long time. Sweeping his gaze over the surroundings, even by virtue of being the domain lord, he detected nothing abnormal here. "This is where I entered that special place back then," said the Lord of Slaughter. "I've returned since then to look for it, but found nothing. But somehow, I feel it's still here, hasn't left." An Eternal's intuition was rarely wrong. Lin Moyu chose to believe him. Although he sensed nothing with ordinary sight, he wove the domain rules under his authority into a dense net, sweeping through the region like a carpet, yet still found nothing. "Nothing," he murmured. This meant one of two things. Either there was truly nothing here, or the other party's concealment was beyond his ability to detect, completely blocking his perception. Could it have already left? The Lord of Slaughter asked quietly. "My feeling might not be entirely accurate." "No matter," Lin Moyu said with a faint smile. "You head back. Pretend this never happened. Go about your business." Although curious to see what Lin Moyu would do next, the Lord of Slaughter did not dare refuse. Once told, he could only leave. Just as he was about to go, Lin Moyu added, "I don't care about your grudge with the human emperor, but hold back a little when you fight. Don't involve too many innocents." The Lord of Slaughter shivered. "I understand." He faded into darkness, swiftly leaving the virtual world for the real one. Lin Moyu's thoughts stirred. "Soulless one." At his call, the soul-eating beast appeared. "Master, your orders." "Seal this area. Let no one come near." "Yes." The beast obeyed instantly, manipulating the rules to lock the place down. "It seems I'll have to use the stupid method," Lin Moyu murmured to himself. With a thought, trillions of undead servitors materialized in the void, scattering in all directions to begin a true carpet search. Under such scrutiny, any anomaly in this region, even a single strand of hair, would be found. This matter was of great importance to him. The disturbance here might be tied to that time, at the formation of the five-domain world, when the heavenly void land had been attacked. It might not have been an accident, but the ploy of another Heaven-Earth Supreme. The methods of Supremes were exceedingly cunning. They might plot for eons and treat the countless lives within a domain as pawns in their games. If careless, one could easily fall into the trap of a Supreme, perhaps without even knowing how they died. Furthermore, the 5-domain world now belonged to him. The idea that something within his domain could exist beyond his control was intolerable. He had to get to the bottom of it. The region was vast. Even with 20 trillion undead servitors, a thorough search would take a long time. Each servitor transformed into a giant 100,000 meters tall, able to cover a wider area and search more efficiently. They combed through every inch, missing no corner, expanding the search range continuously. After an entire month, nothing. By now, the search area spanned 1 trillion kilometers across, nearly reaching the nearest Great Spirit domain. And that was what made Lin Moyu even more suspicious. A vacuum in the void wasn't truly empty. There were usually hidden realms, secret landscapes, or special anomalies. The collision and weaving of great Taos should produce unusual variations here and there. Rare, perhaps, but never zero. And here, there was nothing. A true void. That was abnormal. Lin Moyu had his undead reduce their forms and search the whole area again in finer detail, taking another 2 months. Still nothing. Even the soul-eating beast helped, but found nothing either. Master, something's not right, the great beast said. Tell me what's wrong. The beast hesitated. I can't explain. Just, this area feels like it's been deliberately disguised. You're right, Lin Moyu said. It has been disguised with very high-level methods. Want me to just blow it up? There were no living beings here. Blowing it apart might drive something out. Not yet, Lin Moyu shook his head. I think I have another way. Go back for now, I'll handle it. The beast departed obediently. Destroying the region was the last resort, and Lin Moyu didn't know what consequences it might bring. Behind this could be a Supreme. If possible, he preferred to flush them out by more precise means. With that thought, he withdrew all undead servitors. With a single movement of will, every rule and great Tao in this area vanished, leaving behind a pure, absolute void. 4302. 4302. Chapter 4302. The Space of a Chaos Realm. Completion Expert. Lin Moyu dispersed every great Tao and rule in the area, leaving this region in a state of absolute vacuum, a true nothingness where no law existed. Since ordinary methods couldn't uncover anything, perhaps, in an environment stripped bare of rules, something would reveal itself. All undead servitors had been withdrawn. Their presence would disturb the vacuum. In this state, Lin Moyu could not perceive with his domain lord vision, for rules no longer existed here. Relying only on his eyes, he scanned the void. Nothing stood out. The enemy's concealment method was even more advanced than he had estimated. But he had another method. Reaching through, he connected to the vast world. Daqian Shijia, a projection rose behind him, not terribly large, but independent, providing him with its own source of power. Swoosh! The wings of chaos unfurled, vibrating lightly, stirring a soft breeze. The breeze seemed harmless, without fire or distortion, yet where it passed, ripples of chaos appeared in space-time itself. Lin Moyu controlled it carefully. The chaotic turbulence was not destructive, only a gentle disturbance of time and space. Chaos was merely a surface appearance. To him, even disorder followed patterns. Only when those patterns broke was chaos truly absolute. The chaotic winds interwove into a great net, sweeping across the region in a carpet-like search. The winds weren't fast. Given the size of this region, it would take decades for them to comb through every corner. But Lin Moyu believed he wouldn't be so unlucky. It shouldn't take that long. The wings of chaos beat steadily, without haste. He knew he could be facing a Heaven-Earth Supreme's trap. He had no choice but to move slowly and cautiously. Meanwhile, in the real world, his true body accompanied Little Mist and the others, guiding them toward breaking through to Tao Lord. A year later, the Lord of Slaughter and the Human Emperor clashed again. This time the Human Emperor was prepared. The two fought to a draw, neither seizing advantage. The Janmu Emperor returned once more to his spirit domain, but now behaved far more cautiously. That one strike from Lin Moyu had left it with bone-deep terror. It knew Lin Moyu could kill it at any time. No matter how great its fury, it could only suppress it, perhaps for all eternity. After 3 years, Lin Moyu suddenly opened his eyes from meditation. A faint smile touched his lips. Finally, found it. From the net woven of chaotic winds, a response had appeared. It was a speck no larger than a pinprick, yet it blended seamlessly with the fabric of the virtual realm. It absorbed energy from its surroundings to disguise itself, and could pass through anything, even undead servitors touching it would slip right through as if nothing existed. No wonder it had evaded detection before. Only under the confusion of chaotic winds, which it could not exploit as camouflage, had it finally emerged. Lin Moyu approached, carefully observing. With his soul as his eye, he condensed spiritual force into a sharp needle, sliding it inside. A chaos rune. Within, a symbol of chaos barred his entry, functioning as a gate to reject outsiders. On its surface, flashing light flickered. Studying the light's rhythm, Lin Moyu realized every so often, the rune opened to draw in outside energy. That was the right time to enter. The Lord of Slaughter had stumbled in by sheer luck, during such an opening. But Lin Moyu would not wait. Who knew when the rune would open again? Instead, he studied it directly. He had encountered chaos runes before. Though they stood above divine runes Shi and Fu, the logic remained the same. Soon, he grasped the solution. From the beginning, when he first saw chaos runes, he had realized his talent in this field exceeded ordinary reasoning. What to others was impossibly complex, to him seemed only natural. At first he had thought this talent came from some higher being. Later, when he learned of his ties to the catastrophic Supreme, he assumed it came from him. But, after more understanding, he knew it was not so. The Supreme indeed mastered chaos runes, but the sharpness of Lin Moyu's comprehension already surpassed even him. That was unimportant. What mattered was that this rune was not overly advanced and could be broken. Drawing on the chaotic ancestral tree, Lin Moyu borrowed a wisp of chaos itself. Carefully, he formed it into a matching rune of his own design. It was his first personally drawn chaos rune, not much different than forming a divine rune. Whoosh! The rune shot forward, slotting into the barrier like a key. The tiny pinprick hole suddenly widened, swelling into a gateway to a colossal independent space, spanning billions of miles. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. A space between realms. This space resided between the virtual and real, neither entirely in the virtual world nor in reality. The construction was ingenious, hidden within folds of space itself, its secrecy nearly perfect. Stepping forward, he entered without hesitation. Though this was only an avatar, within the five-domain world, Lin Moyu's avatars were equally undefeated. He feared no danger. Once inside, the chaos rune that had served as the gate did not dissolve. Its lingering presence kept the door open. Through it, domain power was pouring continuously into the space, another reason for his confidence. The independent space itself exuded a strange aura. This doesn't belong to the five domains. And it can absorb and refine the great Tao of the five domains, converting it into its own power. Not a bad arrangement. From the lingering breath, Lin Moyu inferred the realm's master. It seems this was crafted by a Chaos Realm completion expert. Not a supreme, but still immensely powerful. Much stronger, at least, than I am now. Yet Lin Moyu judged that this space likely did not host its master. It was only a contingency left behind. He wandered forward, unhurried. Behind him, more and more of the five-domain world's powers flooded in, soon to claim the majority of this realm for himself. Once that happened, he would be master here. All within the space would bend to his will. Ahead, several vast rivers appeared, each flowing from different directions, converging toward one place. Within them surged the power of the five-domain world's great Taos, guided to a single nexus. At that place floated a vast, ancient castle, resting upon the sea those Tao rivers poured into. Though aged, its workmanship was immaculate, intricate in every detail. Quite the taste, Lin Moyu muttered. With one step, he appeared before it. The eye of the undead swept through within, he caught sight of several faint soul flames lingering. 4303, 4303. Chapter 4303, The Castle, the Woman. Inside the castle, there were indeed living beings, but none were strong. Judging from their soul flames, the strongest among them was only at the Tao Lord level. This puzzled Lin Moyu. To a Chaos Realm expert, Tao Lords were worthless. Unless a Tao Lord had been reduced to the role of a slave, then it might make sense. The castle was shrouded in a faint glow, forming a simple defensive barrier. But in Lin Moyu's eyes, this layer of light could only ward off insects and vermin. To him, it was nothing. He passed through effortlessly and stepped into the castle. A fragrant breeze greeted him. The interior was filled with flowers he didn't recognize, yet all of them were blooming, spreading intoxicating scents. Then he saw the beings whose soul flames he had detected. Tiny creatures the size of a palm, delicate like fairies, with translucent wings. Their wings buzzed as they tended to the blossoms. Under their care, the flowers grew even more vibrant, the fragrance richer. The entire castle exuded tranquility, a peace that seeped into the heart. For a brief moment, Lin Moyu even felt as though he didn't want to leave. But he noticed the faint smirk at the corner of his lips. His Tao heart was being affected. The floral scent carried a subtle power that bewitched the mind. For another Tao lord, this place could have been a prison they'd never escape. The little fairies ignored his presence, each tending only to their few flowers. They neither spoke nor interacted, cute yet oddly wooden. So, things are not as simple as they look, Lin Moyu thought, entering with caution. The castle looked grand and fine, but inside there was only one path straight to the inner hall. Gardens flanked the path, bursting with blooms, the fragrance more potent than outside. The master of this castle clearly loves flowers, but only flowers. Not a weed could be seen in the vast gardens. There were no trees either, only flowers, flawlessly cultivated. Buzz. The castle emitted a faint hum, and countless flower-tending fairies emerged. Each one cared only for the flowers before them, ignoring the rest, just like those on the outer walls. Their numbers were astonishing as the countless flowers themselves. Lin Moyu noticed something off. These fairies lacked true self-awareness. Except for tending the flowers, they did nothing else. They weren't weapon spirits. They weren't normal living beings either. Yet they undeniably possessed souls. Buzz. The castle pulsed again. Wind stirred inside, the floral scent thickening. Laughter. The fairies tending flowers suddenly laughed. Their smiles were radiant, filled with joy, yet the uniformity of it made the scene deeply eerie. Each face identical, as if carved from the same mold. Their laughter overlapped, weaving into a strange rhythm. Lin Moyu frowned. The rhythm, tangled with the overwhelming fragrance, struck against his Tao heart in waves. Every corner of the castle was saturated with charming force, designed to draw one in unawares. This allure could affect even the eternal. But, it falls short of fully ensnaring one. If it's only this, it's too weak. It doesn't match the sophistication of that chaos rune outside. After all, chaos runes were exclusive to Chaos Realm powerhouses. If this independent space was cloaked with such a rune, that meant a being of that rank was involved. Then why did the castle feel so shallow by comparison? It smelled like a trick, a sheep's head hung out, but dog meat being sold. The Lord of Slaughter, when he chanced here long ago, had not entered the castle. He found those two chaos tier treasures, the dagger and the robe, outside. Lin Moyu, however, had walked straight in, thinking this was the core. Perhaps he was missing something. Should I step back and scour the outside first? He thought. Buzz. The castle pulsed again. The wind grew fierce. Floral scent, thicker, laughter, louder until it became needle-sharp grating. At that moment, Lin Moyu's eyes fell upon the inner hall. From within glowed a soul flame, powerful, unmistakably chaos tier, but damaged, flickering with missing fragments. That settled his hesitation. Forget leaving, he stepped inside. The floral intensity reached its peak in the inner hall, yet there were no flowers here. Not one. All the scent came from every other part of the castle, funneling into this chamber. At the center stood a magnificent jade throne. And on it lounged a woman. She was breathtakingly beautiful, her delicate features laden with intoxicating allure. She wore a long, elegant gown embroidered with lifelike blossoms that exuded their own fragrance. Lin Moyu had to admit she was a figure of immense allure. Her charm wasn't merely for men, even women would be compelled toward her. Aside from his sister Lin Mohan, she was the most beautiful woman he had ever encountered. But still, what a pity, Lin Moyu sighed. The woman laughed like silver bells. Tao friend, will you not tell me, what is so pitiable? It's a pity, said Lin Moyu, that a grand chaos realm cultivator doesn't dare show her true face. The woman's expression shifted briefly before turning into a soft sigh. So you've already seen through me. But I find this form pleasant enough. Her appearance did not change, no embarrassment shown. But Lin Moyu had seen through it. This wasn't her real face. She was simply showing him what his heart most desired in a woman's face. Anyone else would see something different, whatever they most wanted. To them, she would be irresistible, possibly even shaking eternals. But to Lin Moyu, it was useless. He even joked to himself that if the Redstone Emperor were here, he might see a beautiful rock. His tone turned calm. Which domain do you hail from? And why do you linger in mine? The woman sighed. I do not wish to stay, but I cannot return. She was clearly trying to appear weak with her soul injured. Lin Moyu could kill her if he wished. Then speak, Lin Moyu said. Explain in detail, all listen. 4304. 4304. Chapter 4304, Will you let me go? My name is Hua Xian, the woman said softly, her voice rising lightly in the ornate hall. I am a cultivator at Chaos Realm Great Completion, and I greet the domain lord of this place. Her voice, like her face, was tailored to each listener's subconscious desire. Whatever tone, timbre, or pitch one wished to hear, they would hear. For everyone, it was different. It carried the same deadly allure as her face and fragrance, forming a complete sensory assault sight, sound, and scent combined to steal one's Tao heart. Even an eternal being could falter before it, should their Tao heart be unstable. But for Lin Moyu, it was nothing beyond, pleasant to smell, nice to look at, and pleasing to hear. Still, the thought struck him suddenly. Those little flower-tending creatures in the castle, were they once cultivators, seduced by this Hua Xian and transformed into plant slaves? That could be asked later. For now, he listened to her story. He would not believe everything, but he had his own way of weighing truth and falsehood. Hua Xian's tale was this. Long ago, she'd been commanded to join a host of Chaos Realm cultivators in an assault against a mysterious land. They hadn't even known what that land truly was, they were simply ordered to fight. Over 1,000 Chaos beings had been sent. Among them were dozens of Chaos Realm Perfection cultivators, hundreds of Great Completion experts like herself, and still more of lesser completion. They struck hard and entered the mysterious land quickly. But soon, fierce resistance came upon them. They were slaughtered. The defenders were many Chaos Realm Perfection powerhouses. Almost all of Hua Xian's peers perished, only a few survived to flee. Her fortune was that she escaped, heavily wounded but not dead. This castle itself, a high-grade Chaos Realm treasure, became her refuge. It allowed her to slip out, but like a parasite it clung to the 5-domain world, embedding itself here. When she finished her tale, Lin Moyu asked, "Then why not leave? Why remain here instead of returning to the chaos outside?" Her eyes darkened, voice drifting, tinged with grievance. "You think I want to stay? I cannot leave. When I escaped into this domain, all my strength was spent. I don't know how long I slept. Over the years, I drew on the domain's power, quietly sustaining myself, only to realize my castle had fused with the domain. Now, even if I wished, I cannot part from it." Lin Moyu was silent, astonishing even a chaos treasure could be forcefully bonded this way. From her words, he understood. The mysterious land she and her peers had attacked was none other than the heavenly void land Tian Shujida. They'd been pawns, sent by some supreme to probe it, not knowing the void land itself was guarded by 2 supremes. They had been nothing but cannon fodder. Who could say what schemes lay between supremes? Lin Moyu asked next, "In all these years, how many came into your castle?" "Quite a few," Hua Xian sighed. "I did not count, but they are all here still. Those flower slaves you saw, they were intruders once." This confirmed Lin Moyu's suspicion. "They entered of their own will," she said softly, "and my flowers bewitched them. They drowned in fragrance and beauty, until they themselves became flowers. Slaves of blossoms. You did nothing yourself," Lin Moyu pressed. She smiled faintly. "I didn't need to. My flowers act on their own." That matched what he had observed. Even injured, a Chaos Great Completion cultivator would never need to dirty their hands against Tao Lords. Flowers alone sufficed as executioners. Lin Moyu then asked, "Some years ago, someone entered here but did not step into your castle. He took away a black-blue dagger and a shadowed robe. You know of this?" "You mean that youngster?" she asked. "I was awake then, of course I know. His Tao heart was strong, and he was careful. He sensed the castle was dangerous, so he never entered." She explained further, "When I fled the battle, my castle pulled away a fragment of space, with it a piece of battlefield, carrying remnants of my companions and their treasures. That dagger and robe belonged to ink-hidden Taoist Mo Yin, a fellow Chaos Great Completion cultivator. Sadly, he too perished." Lin Moyu frowned. "No, he didn't." She blinked, startled. "Impossible. I saw him fall with my own eyes." "He did not die," Lin Moyu replied firmly. "Then the one slain must have been only his avatar." Hua Xian stared, disbelief plain. If he had lived, why would his treasures remain? Lin Moyu said no more. There was no point to argue. He had branded Ink Hidden's soul with the causality-seeking ring's effect without causability. The ring did not err. This meant the man was still alive. The fact that remnants of Ink Hidden's soul were hidden in those treasures only proved it. It had lain in wait for years, and even attempted to kill Little Mist, setting itself as his absolute enemy. When the chance came, Lin Moyu would kill Ink Hidden, body, soul, and spirit. He now also realized the Lord of Slaughter's find had not been luck. Those two treasures had chosen him, escaping the independent space through his hands and re-entering the five-domain world. A chilling thought swept him. If Ink Hidden still lived, might he already know something of this world? Could he even sense its location? If he came hunting, whether great completion or perfection, Lin Moyu knew he could not yet stand against him. Other outsiders might show restraint, wary that Lin Moyu was a genius who could one day become a supreme. But not this Ink Hidden. He would not hesitate. If great completion, he would seek to occupy the five-domain world. If perfection, he would seek to devour its strength. That left Lin Moyu only one best option: leave with his domain, avoiding the clash until he was stronger. But he would not let his home be treated as prey so easily. "Dao friend Hua Xian," he said finally, "thank you for sharing all this. Now is there anything you need of me?" She lowered her lashes, voice soft. "Domain Lord Lin, you have yet to reach the chaos, but you will. When that day comes, and you are able, will you let me go free?" Lin Moyu nodded without hesitation. "Agreed." 4305. 4305. Chapter 4305, Ancient Remnants. Hua Xian's request was not unreasonable. She was trapped between realms, lodged at the delicate cusp of reality and the void. It wasn't her will to remain there. At the time of her escape, she had been grievously injured and had fallen into a long sleep. In the past, she could still secretly draw traces of domain power to slowly recover. But now that the domain had a master, Lin Moyu absorbing domain power on her own was nearly impossible. And to fully restore herself, she would need chaos chi, something that didn't exist inside a domain. That meant only a domain lord like Lin Moyu could help her leave. The problem was, she was incapable of contacting him herself, unable even to open the passageway into this independent space. She didn't know what change in fate had left her tangled up like this. Maybe it was luck or perhaps her final lifeline, but Lin Moyu had come to her of his own accord. She seized on him like a drowning woman grasping driftwood, laying out everything she knew. Aside from a few things that could not be said, she hid nothing. In return, Lin Moyu promised that once he was capable, he would set her free. What Hua Xian did not know was that Lin Moyu never intended for her to remain at all. In fact, he had entertained thoughts of completely obliterating her. After all, this was his domain. The presence of some foreign chaos cultivator squatting here displeased him greatly. As for notions of sparing her because she was beautiful, those didn't exist in him. Still, since he had already given his word to let her leave one day, he would not break it. The invasion of Heavenly Void Land back then had not even been against the five-domain world itself, and even if tangentially tied, it wasn't his affair. The grudges of ages past weren't debts he intended to collect. After conversing long with Hua Xian and asking much, he left the castle. As he walked out, his gaze fell once more on the flower slaves. They had once been cultivators who strayed into this place, ensnared by the strange blossoms, consumed and transformed into eternal caretakers. The castle itself was no small thing, a formidable treasure, entire unto itself, able to absorb energy from outside to nourish its own great Tao, which in turn fed the flowers inside. When Lin Moyu stepped away from it, he didn't leave the area yet. He wandered the surrounding space. The air carried an ancient aura, remnants of Heavenly Void Land itself, scarred by that ancient war. According to Hua Xian, many Chaos Realm powerhouses had perished there, and their corpses, treasures, or fragments of flesh may have been drawn in when she fled, her castle dragging a piece of battlefield with her. Among those remnants were Ink Hidden's dagger and robe. Lin Moyu released his undead servitors to search for the legacies left behind. Any remains, chaos materials, treasures, anything he would take. If he could find fragments of Chaos Realm bodies, even better. Better than mere treasures, a Chaos corpse was more valuable still. Even though eons had passed, the bodies of Chaos cultivators would not rot. If they existed, they could be found. The undead began a carpet search, from rivers of great Tao power to the shattered floor of the battlefield fragment, combing every inch. Hua Xian raised no objection. At this point, even if Lin Moyu dismantled the castle itself, she could not resist. She could not fight him and she still needed his help someday. What choice did she have but to endure? Luckily, the displaced battlefield fragment wasn't enormous, only 10,000 miles across. It wouldn't take long to strip it bare. Half a day later, the search turned up nothing. That fact itself confirmed to Lin Moyu that the Lord of Slaughter's discovery of the black-blue dagger and shadow robe years ago had not been chance. Those items had chosen him. Rumble. Suddenly, stone and dirt burst like a tidal wave. From beneath the ground, a colossal giant erupted upwards. There had been no warning, not even the undead servitors. Eye of the undead had sensed it. Only when it emerged did 10 soul flames blaze to life. The giant snatched up 2 undead servitors and shoved them into its maw. With hideous crunching, it chewed them into shards, swallowing them whole. Lin Moyu's brow creased. This isn't a cultivator, more like a beast. A starving beast. He swept his hand, domain power surging forth. Coupled with the eye of the undead, he saw the truth. The soul flames are chaotic. Not the mark of a single being. This is a fused evil spirit, many souls forced together. The remnants of chaos cultivators forming into one howling grievance. It carries burning obsession. These chaos experts died unwilling. In that ancient war, many chaos cultivators had fallen, and fragments of their souls had not completely dispersed. Driven by the strength of their Tao hearts, their obsessions had endured endlessly, terrifyingly potent. The remnant souls had fused, steeped further in the castle's absorption of domain energy, until they formed this gigantic monstrosity. Its strength was comparable to a newly ascended chaos realm far beyond an undead servitor. Lin Moyu's will stirred, and vast power coalesced into a world-spanning palm descending from above. Great Tao World Extermination Palm. As Domain Lord, the Great Taos bent easily to his command. With a mere thought, the Annihilation Palm took shape, more powerful than ever before. The giant had no reason, no mind, only the instinct to battle, only endless grievance. Locked in combat with undead servitors, it didn't even sense the Annihilation Palm crashing down from the void above. The strike tore it apart. Cracks split its body and in 2 breaths, it exploded into chunks. Flesh and gore rained down across the broken ground, collapsing thousands of feet of terrain. This was the blood and meat of chaos cultivators. Every fragment was unimaginably heavy. Alive, their blood alone could have drowned a world, their full power could shatter a domain. But now, they were just remnants, mindless, without true souls, unable to stir real waves. Lin Moyu's fire rose. World-burning fire swept outward, reducing the remnant souls to ash. A sweep of his hand gathered the remains together. Dozens of bloody lumps, some no bigger than fingertips, some the size of a baby's fist. Each was fully chaotified flesh. Which meant, in life, their owners had been at least Chaos Realm lesser completion. Infinite summon. At his call, the immortality Tao manifested, and its undying flames washed over the trophies. Within the flames, the flesh gathered into 3 distinct piles. That told the truth. These dozens of chunks had once belonged to 3 Chaos Realm experts. The undying fire burned brightly, and after endless ages, 3 ancients of Chaos Realm began to revive with astonishing speed. First, their bodies reformed, then came the souls. Fragments of spirit coursed back through the river of time, rushing to return. But then Lin Moyu's expression shifted. Abruptly, he cut off his art. The 3 half-restored bodies collapsed noisily to the ground. The scattered souls dissipated back into eternity. Lin Moyu held perfectly still, aura tightly hidden. Not daring to make a sound. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Thanks you Xander for donating. You the best people, be more like Xander. Joking. Asterisk 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 asterisk. 4306. 4306. Chapter 4306. The reason for the descent of the Tao. A terrifying will swept across the space. From within the castle, Hua Xian let out a startled cry, collapsing onto the jade throne, trembling so hard she dared not move. To her senses, this will was unimaginably dreadful, far surpassing any ordinary pressure, comparable to a heaven-earth supreme. Lin Moyu instantly withdrew every trace of his aura, cloaking himself with chaos chi drawn from the chaotic ancestral tree, hiding his presence just as the will passed across him. He knew this was none other than the will of the Tao itself. The only question was, why had it descended again, here and now? The mighty will swept through, then departed distant, aloof, much like a supreme existence casually scanning its own territory. Hua Xian collapsed weakly upon the jade throne, her body damp with fragrant sweat. Just moments before, she had been sure she was about to die. Was that a supreme descending? No, it felt even more terrifying than one. Lin Moyu, meanwhile, kept a grave expression. He had noticed something. That will of the Tao lingered upon him just a fraction longer than elsewhere. So tiny a detail it was, yet he trusted his instincts. The great question remained, why had the will of the Tao suddenly descended? He looked over at the three corpses lying upon the ground. Each bore the cultivation of the chaos realm. From their bodies alone, their individual strength could not be told. But the timing struck him, it had been exactly when he was reviving their souls. Those souls had already perished. His infinite summoning technique had reached backwards into the stream of time, plucking their departed souls out of the depths. And since they were Chaos Realm cultivators, the timeline involved was not merely the river of time within a domain, but the very time currents of the chaos itself. In other words, infinite summoning had just fished directly from chaos time. Such a defiance of natural law inevitably drew the attention of the Tao's will. That must be it, yes, a conclusion that was 8 or 9 parts certain. His soul power moved, sending a clone into the castle, appearing before Hua Xian. She had recovered somewhat, though her face still harbored fear as she lay against the throne, her alluring figure trembling. But Lin Moyu had no interest in her charms. With a wave of his hand, the 3 corpses appeared before them. Tao friend Hua, do you recognize these 3? Still shaken, Hua Xian glanced at them and cried out in horror. I do, but, how can this be? These 3 should have fallen long ago. Just state their cultivation, Lin Moyu said flatly. He had no interest in their names, only their strength. Because his suspicion was that the Tao's will descended specifically due to their realm. Most likely, among them was a Chaos Realm perfection cultivator. Hua Xian pointed hesitantly to one corpse. That one he was Leng Chang, a Chaos Realm perfection expert. The other 2 were his disciples, Zihuo and Zifeng, both Chaos Realm lesser completion. That solved the riddle. Lin Moyu now held near certainty. The Tao's will had been triggered because he had attempted to revive Leng Chang. Chaos Realm perfection was a very particular state, separated by only one step from becoming a supreme. In the eyes of the Tao, such an existence was no longer an ordinary, and more importantly, one defining trait of a chaos perfection cultivator is that they command a domain of their own. When such a person fell, their domain would collapse with them, annihilating untold billions of beings. So, to revive one was also to revive their entire domain, an event of vast consequence. Thus, the Tao itself took notice. And yet, when it looked closer, it saw only ants. Even a mighty perfection expert was still but an insect in its gaze. After a glance, it departed. Tao friend Lin, what just happened? Hua Xian asked softly, too timid to mask her trembling. Her current appearance bore none of the majesty a chaos great completion powerhouse should have. Lin Moyu only smiled faintly, shaking his head. Best not to know. It would do you no good. She bit her lip, curiosity unsuppressed. Was it a supreme who came? Lin Moyu chuckled but gave no answer. My thanks for your help, Tao friend Hua. I'll take my leave. His clone dispersed, leaving Hua Xian frowning anxiously, full of curiosity, though she knew she would never learn the truth of it. Lin Moyu studied the 3 corpses again. To think even a Chaos Realm perfection could perish, that battle truly was brutal. From Hua Xian's story, those who died in that ancient war were mostly Chaos Lesser and Great Completion experts. Perfections were far harder to kill, most had escaped. But Leng Cheng had been unlucky. He and his 2 disciples had perished together there. Lin Moyu stored the body away, inhaled deeply. One more try, let's see if I judged correctly. He cast infinite summoning, again this time targeting only one. The undying fire enveloped the corpse of Zihuo. Chaos time stirred. Across the ages, spirit fragments congealed once more, reweaving into a complete soul. The process took the entire day, but was smooth. No anomalies appeared and the Tao's will did not return. Clearly, the Tao did not care about chaos lesser completion existences. Encouraged, Lin Moyu went on to revive Zifeng the same way. Again smooth and uneventful. This confirmed it completely. So long as he did not attempt to revive a chaos realm perfection, the Tao would not intervene. The reason wasn't simply that perfection was too high a level, but that behind perfection lay an entire domain, inseparably linked. Zifeng and Zihuo knelt before Lin Moyu. He said nothing, only waved them into his keeping. The undead meanwhile scoured the battlefield fragment further. Not a scrap was left unsearched, turned inside out. When all was done, no further discoveries appeared. Satisfied, Lin Moyu finally prepared to depart. Back in the virtual world, the surging power of the domain responded to him. He sealed this entire area, forbidding any from entering again. The castle, after all, stood open now, and if some Tao lord wandered in, they might fall prey to the beguiling flowers and end up as flower slaves forever. Better to prevent it. With that, he completed his precautions, dissolved his clone, and withdrew his will. In Yudao City, Little Mist and the others sat in meditation, Tao rings circling their forms. With Lin Moyu's introduction of the Taos, they had all reached the brink of Tao Lord realm. Their breakthrough was now only a matter of time. To strengthen their foundations, Lin Moyu gave them each a chaos fruit, its essence blending into them, fortifying their roots even further. Only then did he summon the revived Zifeng and Zihuo. Tell me in detail everything about that year, when you attacked the heavenly void land. Be thorough. The two looked blank, exchanging glances, then asked in unison. Master, what is this, heavenly void land? Lin Moyu chuckled, patting his forehead. The term was his own invention. He rephrased. I mean the mysterious land you assaulted, the place where you both perished. Recognition dawned then, and they began to retell everything exactly as it happened, no omission, no lies. For they were revived under his immortality Tao, and utterly bound to him. Much more than Hua Xian's vague account, theirs was detailed and complete. 4307. 4307. Chapter 4307, The Contours of Chaos. The accounts of Zihuo and Zifeng confirmed many of Hua Xian's claims. She hadn't lied. Everything she said was true. Back then, they, too, had received orders from a supreme, attack the mysterious land. They hadn't even known where that land was, only that the supreme used a treasure to directly transmit them into it. Just as Hua Xian described, the initial assault went smoothly. The mysterious land was quickly invaded. But soon came an overwhelming counterattack. From nowhere, countless mighty cultivators emerged. They were struck down, their forces torn apart. The army collapsed, slaughtered, wounded, scattered. Only then did they realize, the mysterious land they had attacked also held supremes. But by then, it was already too late. Over 1,000 Chaos Realm cultivators had been sent. Fewer than 100 returned alive. So many perished, even Chaos Perfection Realm cultivators fell. Each such death destroyed an entire domain, along with the endless lives within it. Only those present could truly understand the cruelty of that war. The orders, they revealed, had come from a supreme called Ju Yu, 9 Moon, the supreme of the eastern pole of chaos. This detail Hua Xian herself hadn't known. But as disciples to Leng Chang, a chaos perfection cultivator, they had learned more. Many others had died without ever knowing whose will they followed, cannon fodder in the games of powers far beyond them. Lin Moyu whispered to himself. Chaos divides into 4 extremes and 3 realms: east, south, west, north as the poles, and upper, middle, lower as the realms. As he spoke, countless lines appeared over his palm, weaving together the outline of chaos. Though chaos was said to be limitless, that wasn't quite true. After countless ages of exploration by the Supremes, its form had been charted. Yes, chaos was ever expanding, endlessly vast, but its outer contours remained unchanged. In the image in his palm, first appeared a colossal column divided into 3 sections, the upper, middle, and lower realms of chaos. From the middle stretched outwards into 4 vast directions the 4 extremes. Chaos was immense. Even a chaos perfection expert might take endless time to travel from one region to another. At the boundaries between these realms lay the ancient wastelands, Guhuang Jida. The wastelands brimmed with the unknown violent storms of chaos chi, strange forces beyond description, regions warped into unique danger zones. Within such places lurked death and fortune. Countless chaos cultivators ventured in. Even supremes were said to enter, occasionally returning with great treasures. From such wastelands had come the Duo Fairy, that supreme naturally birthed treasure of chaos perfection. And more than that, even the vanished supreme who once bore the catastrophic scepter, Tian Zai Quanzhong, had obtained it in the ancient wastelands. The catastrophic scepter came from the ancient wastelands. And the scepter stands higher than chaos, even higher than the Tao itself. Yes, if that is true, then the ancient wastelands are the root of everything. Lin Moyu felt truth crystallize before him. He had long wondered, if the Tao was supreme in chaos, yet the catastrophic scepter surpassed it, even possessing the power to kill the Tao, then from where did the scepter arise? The answer was clear now. Chaos itself had an origin in the ancient wastelands. And the scepter was not a mere balancing power to the Tao. The Tao ruled chaos, while the scepter transcended it, able even to restrain or slay it. With this realization, his Tao heart shone clear. Cause and effect snapped into order. Insights cascaded through him, spilling into a profound epiphany. It was as though he had ascended above all existence, overlooking the myriad heavens. His domain had become but one speck in the vast tapestry. In that moment, his comprehension of both Tao and chaos skyrocketed. He faintly sensed that he could finally begin mobilizing chaos chi directly. That was the true path of chaos cultivators, to guide chaos chi through one's Tao. Normally, it took endless ages to achieve this. But this single moment of enlightenment had saved him tens of thousands of years of cultivation. Alas, it was fleeting. Like receding tide, the feeling ebbed, leaving him again. A pity, Lin Moyu sighed. A pity for two reasons. 1. The enlightenment did not last longer. 2. The chaos chi he had was insufficient. What little he had, drawn from the chaotic ancestral tree, wasn't enough. It seems, I must truly enter chaos. Since becoming a domain lord and stepping into the great Tao, he had been consumed with endless matters. But now, the time was ripe. And not alone when he entered, he would take the entire 5-domain world with him. That would mark an upheaval, a grand transformation. He glanced toward Little Mist and the others. They were right on the cusp, ready to step into Tao Lord. Then I'll wait until they've broken through. Once they do, we'll enter chaos together and I'll grant them the very first threads of chaos chi. Perhaps, one day, they too can transcend. They were his people, naturally deserving of privilege. Technically, the first threads of chaos chi were meant to disperse across a domain impartially, bestowing fortune on any fated. But as domain lord, Lin Moyu could claim the right to choose, and he chose them. Suddenly, his head lifted. His expression changed sharply. His eyes pierced the domain's boundary walls, gazing into the void. From a measurable distance, a ray of dazzling radiance shot across chaos, streaking straight for his domain. Instantly, the barrier walls of the domain responded. The ancient sky battle array woven into the barriers activated of its own accord, intercepting the incoming strike. Boom! The impact shuddered through the entire domain. The strike was terrifyingly strong. Cracks split the array, fragments shattering. Were it not for Lin Moyu having already ascended as domain lord, fusing the array into the walls, the defense would have collapsed entirely, the domain itself wounded. Chaos great completion. No, it's Mo Lan. Lin Moyu's soul mark on his enemy flared. He sensed it directly. A figure appeared in the distance, robed in ink blue, striding through the void. At his back, faint projections of his own domain loomed. A chaos perfection expert, Mo Lan has found me. Chaos was vast. Even for a chaos perfection powerhouse, traveling from one side to another required endless years. Yet here he was. Perhaps since the day when the Lord of Slaughter had taken his dagger and robe, Mo Lan had already marked the 5-domain world. Lin Moyu glanced once toward Little Mist and the others. He summoned the soulless beast to guard them. Then, stepping beyond the barrier, he came face to face with Mo Lan in the void. His voice rang out like thunder. Mo Lan, halt where you stand. 4308. 4308. Chapter 4308. Bluff. Lin Moyu stirred the sound of the domain, triggering the full might of domain power. It rolled forth like boundless thunder, striking directly at Mo Lan. Within chaos, the rule was simple: strength determined truth. Mere words rarely held weight. If one wanted to make another halt, the best way was through force. The thunder crashed down, carrying with it the pressure of the entire domain. But behind Mo Lan, the vague projection of his own domain flickered, blocking the strike as if it were nothing. On Mo Lan's aged face, Lin Moyu saw a faint look of disdain. To him, Lin's attack wasn't even worth consideration. He didn't even pause. Immediately, the heavenly dome battle formation fully activated. Light blazed, and a titanic war giant rose. All the power of the domain poured into it as it swung forth its strongest strike. This one blow surpassed even the level of Chaos Realm lesser completion. The domain itself roared, groaning as though it might collapse at any moment. To an outsider, it looked as if Lin Moyu was already fighting with all his might, teetering on the edge of self-destruction. Lin Moyu smirked within this was deliberate, a ruse. He was making it seem like the domain was prepared for a death struggle. Mo Lan snorted coldly, blocking the war giant's blow. Finally, he stopped. A domain that has not even stepped into chaos, yet can reach this level. Not bad. Your foundation is strong, perfect to take. This domain belongs to me. He spoke with disdain. Junior, I'll allow you a chance. Hand over your domain, relinquish the seat of domain lord, and I may spare your life. His voice was harsh, metallic, cold and domineering. Overwhelming pressure pressed down, as though he had already decided Lin Moyu's fate. Lin Moyu merely smiled coldly. You call it mercy to let me live. But in truth, if I were to obey, I would die even more miserably. If I refuse, I can self-detonate the entire domain. In that case, I'll surely die, but senior, you won't gain anything either. If I surrender the domain, then I am just a cow waiting for slaughter. Self-detonate the domain, in front of me, Mo Lan sneered. You don't have that qualification. Lin Moyu's expression remained calm. You're free to test me. Now he was certain Mo Lan's goal was exactly as he had guessed. This Chaos Realm perfection powerhouse had come for the 5-domain world. And how did he find this place? It could only be from the treasures the Lord of Slaughter once picked up. Mo Lan's fragments of soul had lingered within those items, allowing him to lock onto the domain's position. Mo Lan's voice carried a dark chill. So, you erased the brand I left behind. I admit, you have talent. If you surrender the domain, I'll let you live as my servant. With my protection, you could roam chaos freely. Lin Moyu laughed. Senior's words are rather hollow. Back then, you fought alongside others to attack the mysterious land under the orders of Supremes. Even you had to bow your head to Supremes. With them above you, how can you promise to back me freely? Mo Lan's face changed slightly. Lin Moyu saw the shadow pass. That subtle shift confirmed it. Mo Lan did have things to fear. Lin Moyu pressed further. I would guess when you participated in that war, it was only with an incarnation. If the Supreme, Lord Ju Yu, were to learn of this, tell me, would his anger fall upon you? He fixed his gaze keenly on Mo Lan. As expected, Mo Lan's expression grew uglier. His voice spat venom. A Supreme is not someone you can just invoke. To think you can scare me with that. Then you truly cannot be allowed to live. Murderous intent rolled out, suffocating the void. Now it was clear. This was dangerous for him. If Ju Yu knew the truth, Mo Lan's life would be misery. But Lin Moyu still laughed lightly. If you truly mean to kill me, perhaps you should ask yourself why do I still speak so boldly before you? At those words, a surge of terrible aura burst from inside the domain, one not weaker than Mo Lan's own. Mo Lan's pupils shrank. Rage and sudden fear mingled. Chaos Realm perfection. Impossible. How could another perfection exist inside this domain? Lin Moyu's words were calm and pointed. The same way you survived back then. If you could live, why not others? The truth was a bluff. He had Zifeng and Zihuo manipulate Leng Cheng's corpse, coaxing out the remnant aura of a chaos perfection cultivator. If Mo Lan didn't examine it too closely, he wouldn't detect that it was only residue. If the trick worked, Lin Moyu hoped to frighten him off. He had no ability yet to fight such a foe. Leng Cheng's corpse was one of his hidden cards, but even with it, could it truly kill Mo Lan? He doubted it. For Mo Lan had shown that he was no average perfection. To have once fooled Supreme Ju Yu with an incarnation, that meant he was deviously powerful. Leng Cheng, in contrast, had not been near the top of the perfection stage. Power in that realm could vary immensely. Worse still, perfection experts could channel great damage into their domain itself, using it to absorb attacks not unlike Lin Moyu's own gifts as a domain lord. That meant even a serious blow might not kill him. Unless desperate, Lin Moyu didn't dare gamble. So deception was the safer play. Bluff and bluster together, the threat of self-detonation paired with the illusion of another perfection powerhouse in his domain. There was a real chance Mo Lan might back off. Mo Lan's glare sharpened, his eyes shifted, struggling internally. He was clearly reconsidering. Lin Moyu spoke evenly. Chaos is vast. Domains are countless. Senior need not fixate on this one. But if you insist, I may choose self-destruction, and if that happens, both Jade and Stone perish together. He walked back within the domain barrier, watching through it carefully. The barrier ensured that Mo Lan could not kill him directly. And so long as he had time, he could indeed self-detonate the domain. Lang Cheng's aura still hovered faintly like a warning, reminding Mo Lan that battle might be costly. At last, Mo Lan growled, voice like grinding iron. Since there is a perfection here, I will let you go today. But if you ever dare spread this secret, I will kill you myself. Lin Moyu bowed his head slightly, polite smile curving his lips. Rest assured, Senior, my lips are sealed. What I know, I'll take to the grave. A dismissive snort was all Mo Lan gave. Then, turning, he left into the void. Only then did Lin Moyu let out a slow breath of relief. The bluff had succeeded. Returning to Little Mist and the others, he found them shimmering with Dao aura, their breakthrough toward Dao Lord imminent. But despite Mo Lan's retreat, unease gnawed at him. He whispered to himself, voice low with resolve. No more waiting, into chaos we go. With that, he stepped into the void outside his domain, dragging the 5-domain world itself along. Domain power surged, forming invisible chains linking him and the world, tugging it toward the boundless chaos beyond. Between domains and true chaos lay the buffer void, a border that shielded fragile new domains from the crushing invasion of chaos chi. Until a domain lord was born, every domain remained protected here. But with a domain lord, the shield could be pierced. They could lead their domain into chaos, gradually harmonizing it, feeding it chaos chi until it transformed. It was the process of chaotification, strengthening both the domain and its people. The first thread of chaos chi was the most vital. Once absorbed, the domain would adapt and endure within chaos, its life evolving into true chaos-born beings, foundations remade from the very start. 4309. 4309. Chapter 4309, I'll allow you some last words. Dragging an entire domain into chaos brought enormous benefits. The greatest advantage was that it enhanced the essence of the domain, raising the foundations of all cultivators within it, greatly accelerating their cultivation. As the domain itself strengthened, it could support higher-level beings, even birthing more transcendence cultivators at the Chaos Realm. More Chaos Realm beings meant more power flowing back into the domain, compounding its growth. Yes, the benefits were great, but as with all things under heaven, so were the drawbacks. The flaw was simple. When a domain first entered chaos, it required its domain lord to bear the burden of refining chaos chi into the domain. This step consumed unimaginable energy. The process could take 1,000,000 years if fast, tens of millions, or even 100 million years if slow. The speed of refining was closely tied to the domain lord's own cultivation. Thus, most domain lords waited until they were at Chaos Realm grade completion, close to perfection, before daring to move their domains. For some, however, those who had already been crowned domain lord upon stepping into chaos, it was different. Like Lin Moyu. Such cultivators would usually wait until they too reached great completion before pulling their domains into chaos. Otherwise, misfortune might follow. Zifeng and Zihuo recounted a grim example. Long ago, there was a domain lord who had just broken free to reach Chaos Realm while still carrying the weight of his domain. Eager and arrogant, he dragged his freshly claimed domain into chaos immediately. He assumed it would be a gift to his people. But while he strained to refine chaos chi into his domain, within the domain another cultivator achieved transcendence, stepping into Chaos Realm. That one adapted to chaos within 30,000 years, breaking into chaos lesser completion. By comparison, their domain lord was still laboring, still weaker. The new Chaos Realm cultivator returned to their domain, ambushed their lord, slew him, and claimed the throne. Such humiliations were not rare. Arrogant geniuses too anxious for glory often died in this way. Even worse, once a domain entered chaos, its natural protective veil was gone. Chaos beasts and foreign cultivators alike could now find it. Danger lurked both from outside and from within. Lin Moyu recorded every word. He could leave no room for error. At this stage, so near a new beginning, a mistake would be unforgivable. The 5-domain world flew slowly, tethered to him, toward the wall of chaos chi. Before long, they reached the edge where the protective veil ended. Beyond that veil lay the ocean of chaos itself, dense as white cotton, opaque and inscrutable. One had to step inside to see anything. The moment of first entry that was always the most dangerous. Until a cultivator adapted to chaos chi, their strength would be heavily suppressed. If fortune smiled, they could endure. If luck failed, they might stumble straight into a chaos beast's jaws. Lin Moyu opened the eye of the undead, but its power was blunted by the overwhelming chaos chi. Even so, he saw enough. The place he had chosen showed no sign of hostile life. That was good enough. Here, he would set the 5-domain world along chaos edge, refine the chi slowly, and sink deeper step by step. Even if it took millions of years, he had ways to shorten that process. Then, he froze. Something streaked from afar, a blinding light, racing across endless void, tearing through space as it leapt closer. The oppressive weight of its aura arrived before it did, crushing space into shards. Lin Moyu instantly willed the sky battle array to activate atop the domain's barrier. It flared, intercepting the force. At the same moment, he stepped beyond the barrier, shielding the realm behind him. The light halted a myriad miles away. Out of it strode Molan, his figure revealed, meeting Lin Moyu's gaze across the void. Lin Moyu's heart tightened. He had left yet returned. Why? Still, outwardly, he wore a calm expression. Does Senior still have business with me? Molan's lips curved into a cold grin. Junior, very good. You almost deceived me. A chill coursed through Lin Moyu's heart. Did he see through it? But his mien remained steady. What does Senior mean? Molan sneered. Wasn't there supposed to be a chaos perfection cultivator in your domain? Summon him forth. Let me see with my own eyes. There it was, suspicion revealed. Lin Moyu didn't flinch. With a thought, he let Zihuo and Zifeng stir Lang Cheng's fleshly shell. The corpse emitted once more the faint aura of perfection realm. But it was unstable, hollow. Anyone careful might notice. After all, Lang Cheng's soul was long gone. Molan raised a circular treasure. From its surface, divine light poured over the domain. In that light, the aura evaporated like mist. Molan laughed darkly. As I thought, just a corpse of a perfection cultivator. And to think, I let myself be fooled. How ridiculous. His laughter dripped with killing intent, mixed with self-mockery. Plainly, he could not tolerate the indignity of being tricked. Youngster, he growled, I'll grant you the right to speak a last word. Lin Moyu sighed softly. So Senior truly won't let me go? Molan smirked ominously. Had you obeyed before, perhaps out of appreciation for your talent, I would have spared you. But now, no. At best, I grant you to leave a final testament. Today, you die. The murderous aura surged, sealing the void. Molan's intent was clear. He would kill Lin Moyu, even if it cost him the destruction of the domain. His pride could not allow otherwise. Lin Moyu, too, knew it. So it is as I thought, he murmured. Then no words remain, only battle to the death. The war giant rose again behind him. Zifeng and Zihuo appeared at his side. Lang Cheng's corpse fell into his palm. Molan scoffed. A corpse? That won't. He never finished. Lin Moyu lifted a finger. Instantly, the chill of imminent death rose from deep in Molan's soul. For the briefest instant, he was smothered by the flood of it. The corpse in Lin Moyu's hand burst like a detonated sun. Corpse explosion. Lang Cheng's remains vaporized into ash as they erupted. A deafening roar split the void. Molan's body was shredded into fragments, consciousness blanketing to black. Lin Moyu flung forth the world-burning fire, covering the aftermath with a sea of flames, erasing every trace. Without delay, he spun, dragging the 5-domain world into the sea of chaos. Molan's body was pulverized but not destroyed. Lin Moyu knew, a chaos perfection wasn't so easy to kill. This wasn't the time for a drawn-out contest. If he stayed, the odds were slim. He had struck to wound, to seize a moment, and now he'd fled into chaos with his realm in tow. 4310. 4310. Chapter 4310. Refining Chaos, Remaking the Domain. Normally, a domain should never be dragged directly into chaos. Instead, the domain lord first must let chaos chi seep through gradually, slowly tempering the domain until it adapted. Otherwise, the domain would suffer the crushing impact of chaos chi, and might even collapse altogether. But Lin Moyu had no choice. The corpse explosion had grievously damaged Molan, but not killed him. Lin Moyu had seen his body shattered apart, soul scattered into void, yet his soul flame still burned. The blast's greatest force had been borne not by Molan himself, but by his domain's projection. Mo Lan's body crumbled, his domain was gravely wounded but not annihilated. Lin Moyu could only guess how bad the damage was, certainly severe. Meanwhile, through the void, Lin Moyu could feel karmic backlash converging, cause and effect flowing toward him. Fortunately, the five-domain world and the beings of the vast world under him returned their faith and willpower, shielding him from part of the karma. The rest he would settle later. For now, there was only one path forward: enter the chaos, dragging the five-domain world with him. Once inside and moving in shifting directions, Mo Lan would struggle to trace them again. Behind him, the world-burning fire was still blazing. Mo Lan's broken soul and body convulsed within it, painfully knitting back together at a glacial pace. But he would recover, and so Lin Moyu acted without hesitation. The sea of chaos loomed ahead. Its air was like fists of iron rain, smashing into him again and again the moment he entered. But his body and soul had already undergone chaotification through the chaos pearl. The crushing pressure didn't harm him. Instead, he inhaled, circulating the chaos chi into himself, using it as a disguise. Cloaked in this way, his chaotification appeared entirely natural. Even the Tao itself would struggle to notice anomalies. He feared nothing for himself. The problem was the five-domain world. Chaos chi struck like a hammer. Without preparation, the domain barriers alone could not hold. Even with the sky battle array, resistance was limited. Against the might of chaos, it was like cotton meeting steel. But Lin Moyu had a solution. With a thought, he summoned out all his undead servitors, over 2 trillion of them. Each took root against the domain barrier, fusing themselves into it. These were half-chaos cultivator level undead, now strong enough to resist chaos chi. Side by side, they bore the impact. Not only did they block, they also refined chaos chi into usable power. This was the method Lin Moyu had envisioned long ago. If it worked, it could cut the chaotification process from millions of years down to hundreds, perhaps even a few decades. Pressured now, he deployed his plan without hesitation. The undead refined the flood of chaos chi, channeling purified force into Lin Moyu's hands. He then drew it further through his immortality Tao, refining it yet again, and finally distributed it into the five-domain world. Together he and his legions worked like one machine. The five-domain world stormed across chaos, Lin Moyu shifting directions again and again, until even he could no longer recall their path. For outsiders, he was impossible to track. His eye of the undead swept the chaos constantly, steering the realm clear of dreadful chaos beasts, weaving them toward safety. 10 days later, the world-burning fire finally exhausted itself. And Mo Lan, resurrected. His face was like ash, his aura wan and broken. Lin Moyu's strike had not killed him, but had crippled him. Behind him loomed the shattered projection of his domain, at least 1/3 broken. For a chaos perfection cultivator, one's domain was one's foundation. Its destruction slashed deep into his realm, leaving him weakened almost to the point of regression. His cultivation wavered at its edge. His realm nearly crumbled by a level. Yet he roared and plunged into chaos, scouring space for Lin Moyu's trail. But the Necromancer was long gone. Ah! The shout of fury tore the chaos apart, scattering chi, carving a temporary vacuum. The loss was immense, a wound that would take tens of millions of years to heal. Had he known, Mo Lan would have left Lin Moyu alone. But who could have guessed the domain lord wielded such a twisted technique? His screams echoed through chaos. At last, grim and trembling, he fled, retreating into the void. Already, his rage and aura had attracted attention. In his damaged state, if he met another perfection cultivator hostile to him, he might truly have died here. Not long after he left, another figure arrived, standing where he had howled. Sensing the lingering aura, they muttered softly to themselves. A wounded perfection cultivator, and not one of the middle realm. This must be brought to the sovereign. Then they vanished, dissolving into chaos. More followed after. Mo Lan's struggle had been too violent, and the taste of his aura lingered. Many eyes were now watching. Meanwhile, the five-domain world sped deeper. Half a year passed before Lin Moyu finally let it slow. Day and night, tireless undead absorbed, refined, repelled chaos chi, while Lin Moyu purified the harvest. In that span, his disguise was perfected. Upon his already chaotified body and soul, he wove a thin second layer of chaos chi, a false shell to conceal him further. Now, even careful scrutiny marked him only as an ordinary inhabitant of chaos. And in his grip coalesced the first thread of chaos chi. Condensed, pure, transcendent, this was the primal essence. Normally, once fed into a domain, it would scatter, manifesting anew in myriad forms. Fortunate beings who encountered it could awaken to greater destinies. Geniuses would be born from nowhere. But Lin Moyu, as domain lord, claimed the right of control. He split the first strand. Half he gave into the 5-domain world itself, bestowing upon it its first chaotic foundation. The other half he divided further. A quarter he broke into 8 parts. 4 he gave to Little Mist, Little Mei, Little Yu, and Little Wu his disciples. 2 he gifted to Jiyu Hanjingxin, his sister-in-law from Cold Water Holy Land, Lu Fengyao, and Lilian. 1 portion he reserved for Antares, Dragon Crown Prince, whom he had long favored. The final quarter he descended into Yudao City, gifting it to Dao Venerable Hao and others. With it, they would surely break limits, perhaps even step into Dao Lord realm regardless of occupation. This was how he governed. For his people, he never stinted. Now, with the domain blessed by Chaos Chi, the transformation began in earnest. Silently, the necro-servants and Lin Moyu saturated every corner of the 5-domain world, reshaping it into a chaos-born domain. It was the longest stage, but even here, his way was swifter than any before. With trillions of undead suppressing, refining, and channeling, his calculations put completion at 200 years. 2 centuries compared to the million-year ordeals of others was a speed only he could achieve. And though he thought even this too slow, for now, there was no better way. Finding a relatively safe region of chaos, he set down roots and began the true reforging of the 5-domain world. Mo Lan hasn't caught up this long. Likely, he won't come again. Lin Moyu's gaze chilled, the necromancer's calm restored. The road into chaos had begun in fire and fury. Now the domain would forge itself anew. 4311, 4311. Chapter 4311, The Supreme's Move. Within the chaos, Mo Lan was in disarray. He was being hunted down. By order of the Supreme's no perfection realm, cultivator may trespass into the central domain. You dared to sneak in, then leave alive you shall not. One attack after another crashed from all sides, forcing Mo Lan to flee like a beaten dog. At this moment, vengeance was far from his thoughts. All that mattered was survival. He was not of the central domain. He knew its rules well. If he had kept hidden, then no one would have cared. He had planned to kill Lin Moyu, seize his domain, and leave without a trace. Done properly, none would have discovered his trespass. To him, the law would have been meaningless. But he hadn't expected Lin Moyu to be so troublesome. Instead of an easy kill, he had been grievously injured and, worse, his presence exposed. Now came pursuit. The road out of the central domain was long. If he had been at full strength, he might have broken free. Unless a supreme acted, no number of perfections frightened him. But in his injured state, he was desperate, fleeing with nothing but panic and hatred. More and more perfection realm cultivators converged. Soon, 6 had him surrounded. Each carried killing intent like a blade. Mo Lan's heart sank to cold despair. Was this where he would die? To think, a chaos perfection, ruined because of a small chaos lesser completion like Lin Moyu. He burned with unwillingness. Another beam of power split the void, scattering chaos chi. Mo Lan had nowhere to dodge. He braced and took it head on. Boom! Blood thundered from his mouth as he was thrown back, screaming, and when he steadied himself again, he was already ringed about by 6 perfection strongmen. There was no escape. They didn't waste words. They attacked. Mo Lan shrieked at the last moment. Supreme, save me. The soul mark he carried blazed. A vast oppressive will erupted outward. The 6 perfection experts slammed away helplessly. That's a Supreme's intent. He carries a Supreme's protection. He is under one of them. Which Supreme? Could his intrusion here have been ordered? The air thickened. A vague phantom materialized, its aura alone chilling the 6 to their marrow. There were many chaos perfection cultivators but only 9 Supremes in existence. 1 rank apart, yet the gulf was wider than heaven and earth. However many perfections gathered, none could withstand a Supreme. One of them dared to ask carefully. Which Supreme? Be gone. The single word cracked like thunder. Power crashed down. The speaker was blasted away, his aura collapsing and cultivation shaken. They shuddered. This was merely a wisp of will, yet it suppressed them utterly. There was no fight here. They weren't hunters, they were prey, before a Supreme's shadow. Just then, another radiance descended, warm, suffused with harmony. The injured perfection was healed in an instant. Another Supreme, this one's presence spread calm across chaos. A figure appeared, a smiling old man robed in white. His voice was patient, kindly. You should not be here. He pressed his palm. Chaos split, and an enormous gourd appeared, brimful of light, falling to suppress both Molan and the shadow protecting him. The Shadow Supreme's eyes sharpened, and with a shout he struck. His palm crashed into the gourd, yet it shattered nothing, and they tumbled deeper. In a final flare of will, he wrapped Molan's soul, and in an instant, the two vanished from sight. The white-robed Supreme let the gourd dissipate, chuckling softly. Not bad work this time. As reward, a little essence of ancestral water. 6 shimmering drops floated out. Each perfection caught one reverently, joy gleaming in their eyes. Thank you, Supreme, they chorused in unison, bowing deeply. Lin Moyu knew nothing of the battle in chaos. 2 Supremes had nearly clashed, sparked all by him, and he had no idea. All he knew was that he had to refine chaos chi as quickly as possible to adapt his 5-domain world. As the refinement deepened, the domain began to transform. The land grew harder and gleamed with sturdier essence. Even cultivators whose realms hadn't changed felt stronger. Some who had long struggled with comprehension suddenly pierced through, laws and dows unfurling easily in their minds. Geniuses advanced at terrifying speeds, cultivation rocketing skyward. And infants, those newly born, awakened already with force, their roots so firm they resembled prodigies at birth. The blessings of chaos seeped through all beings. The domain's dows began resonating with the dows of chaos itself, opening the door for more of his people to transcend in generations to come. Little Mist, Little May, Little Yu, and Little Wu, with the first thread of chaos chi aiding them, had already broken into Dao Lords. And they didn't stop. They immediately dared to assault the level of heavenly Dao Masters. Ordinarily, this was impossible, because the Daos they cultivated already had owners, held by older Dao Lords. But Lin Moyu simply drew directly from chaos, letting them connect to cosmic Daos that did not conflict. Without the chaos chi, none of this would have been possible. Thus, his 4 disciples were each elevated to stand higher than common Dao Lords. He always gave his own people the advantage. 100 years passed. The 5-domain world now resonated comfortably with chaos chi. The transformation was stable. Lin Moyu recalled his undead servants and began preparing arrays. The first step is survival and adaptation. The second is hiding the domain. No domain lord could simply drag their domain across chaos. Not even perfections. Molan's arrival before had only been with a projection of his domain. No one carried their true domain exposed. Each one learned to hide them, to shield their course so they could not be detected. This was the linchpin of survival. Lin Moyu would do the same not only for his 5-domain world, but also for his vast world and even his law world. Too many domains meant extra trouble. Frankly, he wasn't even certain where his vast world resided anymore, nor where he himself could be said to stand. Molan had known but was never in a state to question. Perhaps, Lin Moyu mused, Candle Dragon would know. But now, even he was hidden somewhere in the chaos. The green robe and white robe ancients who ghosted unseen also stirred his suspicion. Surely this ground was their territory. Perhaps everything he did was under their eyes. He exhaled, then set to work. From his hands flew countless chaos runes. A century of refining chaos chi had also yielded deep enlightenment. He had converted many of his old divine runes into chaos runes, evolving his craft. Though not perfect yet, they were enough to build the concealment arrays he needed. It was time. The 5-domain world would vanish from open sight. 4312. 4312. Chapter 4312. Xiaopeng. Countless chaos runes flew forth, each actively absorbing chaos chi to strengthen themselves. That was the unique trait of chaos runes, they absorbed any available energy to sustain their power. Since chaos was the source of all things, chaos runes could even be used within a domain. Lacking chaos chi, they would simply draw from the Daos inside the domain instead, the only difference being the efficiency of absorption. Once saturated with chi, the runes linked together, forming a colossal formation. The network of runes stretched, multiplying its coverage 10,000-fold, until it expanded larger than the domain itself. It transformed into a great net, wrapping entirely around the 5-domain world. Immediately, its aura was severed. The domain's presence no longer leaked into chaos. This was the purpose of the formation concealment. Even if a chaos cultivator stood right at its border, they would sense nothing. Then Lin Moyu wove a second formation beyond the first. This one would shroud the entire domain in an invisibility cloak, blending it deep into chaos. In such fashion, unless one physically stumbled into contact with the domain, they would never detect it. This was standard practice in the chaos. Even supremes would require painstaking searching to uncover a hidden domain. For ordinary chaos cultivators, it was like looking for a needle in a cosmic sea. Every Chaos Perfection Realm cultivator, regardless of their talent and formations, needed at least these two fundamental arrays. Without them, their domains could not be protected. Lin Moyu, however, required only 2 years to complete them both. Once activated, the 5-domain world vanished into the infinite fog of chaos. Only chaos chi remained where it once lay. He tested his senses, nothing remained, nothing revealed. The concealment was flawless. Satisfied, he clapped his hands. At last, we can tread chaos with peace of mind. He left behind a clone to dwell within the domain. The 5-domain world had already adapted to chaos. The domain power was stronger than before. His clone, by channeling domain force, was fully capable of fending off even a chaos lesser completion powerhouse. Against a great completion opponent, they would not find it easy to seize his domain. And, with the clone maintaining balance, the domain's operations would run smoothly. That was enough. With everything in order, Lin Moyu turned away and entered chaos once more. The battle with Mo Lan had left him utterly convinced of one truth: without enough strength, everything would be shackles. Flying through chaos, waiting in the dense chi like cotton clouds, his thought settled on a special region outside the vast world, the undead base. There, his undead legions resided. There also slumbered his little python Peng, Xiaomeng Peng, as well as a mysterious egg. Inside, Xiao Peng was curled up, sleeping heavily. He had slept for many years, and left uninterrupted, he might have continued for more. Lin Moyu's voice gently stirred the air beside him. Xiao Peng, it's time to wake up. The beast stirred, eyelids twitching, before slowly opening groggy eyes. Father, he mumbled, drowsy. Lin Moyu spoke evenly. We've entered chaos. You can come out now. At those words, at the sound of chaos, Xiao Peng jolted like struck lightning. Instinct etched into his blood awoke. His voice carried barely contained excitement. Truly, chaos, for real. Lin Moyu smiled faintly and swept his hand. His power lifted Xiao Peng out into chaos proper. At once, Xiao Peng inhaled greedily. Chaos chi surged into him, drumming in his blood. His wings opened wide. There was no discomfort, of course not. He was a child of chaos. The roots of his bloodline had always been here. He drank deep, and at once his body grew. In moments he stretched past 10,000 meters, wings spanning tens of thousands more. Chaos beings were massive by nature. Many were larger than worlds themselves. Some dwarfed domains, swatting them like flies. In comparison, 10,000 meters was nothing at all. But as he grew, so did his aura. Moments before, his strength had only rivaled a Tao Lord. In seconds, it roared into the realm of a Tao Master, surging, climbing, reaching again. He roared, his aura bursting into the eternal realm's peak, pounding against the doors of chaos cultivation. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. Even by the standards of chaos beings, this was remarkable. Few could reach chaos step while yet in infancy. But Xiao Peng was already pressing against that barrier, still a child. That meant his bloodline was extraordinary. Likely unstoppable in growth, such that when he matured, chaos great completion would be inevitable. That also raised questions. If his heritage was so mighty, then his mother must have been at least of great completion level. And yet how had such a being fallen into the hands of those in the sacred spirit level of Lingmiao domain? The gap was insurmountable. The mystery tugged at Lin Moyu's mind. Perhaps only Xiao Peng's blood memories could answer. For 3 days, the beast devoured chaos chi. His wings beat storms in the void. With each wave of inhalation his bloodline shifted, reshaping, empowering. Finally, he roared a cry that shook far and wide. The shell shattered, he stepped into chaos. Half-step chaos realm birthed. Triumph lined Lin Moyu's face. His disciple had come into his true inheritance. Gradually, scales of Xiao Peng shimmered with radiant gleam as chaotification began in earnest. No longer did his aura leap. Instead, it steadied, the slow drawn-out path of genuine growth. That's how it should be, Lin Moyu murmured with an amused smile. If you just kept rising infinitely, without end, then I'd start to worry. The beast's eyes glowed. They turned to Lin Moyu, strange, conflicted. Lin Moyu's expression shifted at once. He understood. His voice was quiet. So, you've remembered, haven't you? Bloodline awakening brought inherited memories. Xiaopeng now understood who he was, where he came from. And he understood also Lin Moyu was not truly his father. The beast said nothing, only gave a stiff nod, gaze thick with emotion. Lin Moyu sighed. All right, since your bloodline has awakened, if you choose to go, then go. Chaos is your true home. For a long moment, Xiaopeng was silent. At last, he spoke slowly. Father, I don't want to leave. Lin Moyu blinked, surprised. Still calling me father? Xiaopeng's massive frame shook. His deep voice carried unshakable truth. Without father, I would not have survived. I don't want to leave your side. 4313, 4313. Chapter 4313, The Curse of the Supreme. Xiaopeng did not leave. Even after bloodline awakening, he still recognized Lin Moyu as his father. He wasn't wrong without Lin Moyu, he never would have escaped the Wanling Pavilion, and even if by chance he had left, he would never have gotten beyond the Lingmiao domain, where there was no chaos qi. Without chaos qi, a chaos being could not grow, even death was possible. For chaos lifeforms, years were measured in tens of millions, but still, forever without chaos qi meant inevitable doom. From the day he first saw Lin Moyu, Xiaopeng had already chosen. And regardless of awakening, he did not change his mind. Seeing his determination, Lin Moyu did not try to send him away. Your bloodline seems unusual, will you tell me about it? Of course, my bloodline is indeed unique. Our race is called the Chaos Lone Rock Hundun Gupeng, an ancient and formidable lineage. Xiaopeng explained the knowledge imprinted from his bloodline, and Lin Moyu was stunned. The Chaos Lone Rock was a bizarre species, they had no females, only males. Thus, they could not reproduce normally. Instead, when reproduction was necessary, one would condense a life seed of soul and blood essence, planting it inside the body of another chaos creature. The unwitting host would gestate it unknowingly, only to be devoured completely when the Chaos Lone Rock hatchling broke free. This was borrowing a host to be born. Xiaopeng had been conceived inside a giant python of half-step chaos. That was why he bore some python features. As his bloodline continued awakening, those traces would fade, leaving him fully rock. The Wanling Pavilion had captured only the host python, never realizing a Chaos Lone Rock was slumbering within. Lin Moyu could only sigh. So vast the chaos, what doesn't exist? According to Xiaopeng, their kind never used words like father or mother, only progenitor and host. And yet, thanks to the python host's residual memories mixing into him, he spoke these words, calling Lin Moyu father. Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes. And your progenitor, what of him? If that one came seeking Xiaopeng, better to be prepared. But Xiaopeng only shook his head. Our kind is destined for loneliness. Often, progenitor and host child never meet in a lifetime. I may never see another of my kind. His gaze dimmed as he spoke. But bloodline whispers say this, on our race lies a curse. It came from a supreme, Dazun. We were too powerful once, too arrogant. We dared to challenge a supreme. The quiet note lingered in the void. We failed. Our race was nearly annihilated. The survivors were shackled with the supreme's curse. From then on, our people crumbled apart. Lin Moyu's heart stirred. To challenge a supreme, that meant they had truly rivaled heaven once. What form does this curse take? He pressed. Xiaopeng tilted his head, eyes searching inherited memory. It's complicated. I'm not strong enough, much remains hidden. But, he sighed, if we meet another of our race, disaster will strike. Inevitably, one of us must die. Lin Moyu's face tightened. He knew curses, and yes, such was possible. Especially when laid by a supreme. And has your race tried to break it? Of course. The bloodline tells me we have always sought the cure. But the key lies in our ancestral land. Only if I evolve to the extreme, fully awaken my lineage, will its location be revealed. Then and only then I may enter it. But, I don't know if I can get there. For the moment bloodline awakens, the curse begins. From that time, we have only 100,000 years. Lin Moyu's chest tightened. For normal chaos creatures, 100,000 years was like a single second, never enough to mature to the peak. The curse nearly guaranteed extinction. The Chaos Lone Rock had survived only by scattering, seeking secrets, and at each approaching death, spawning one more host-born descendant, leaving behind hope. Whoever birthed Xiaopeng was almost surely dead already. For some reason, Lin Moyu felt pity. To be chained like this, to carry a mission written into one's blood. The boy's fate seemed written already. He reached out, resting his palm against Xiaopeng's great head. Xiaopeng closed his eyes, leaning into the touch. Don't resist, Lin Moyu murmured. Let me check. His soul force sank within. Xiaopeng allowed it, even retracting his own strength to make way. Lin Moyu scoured flesh and spirit. Immediately, he found anomalies. In Xiaopeng's body glittered countless faint light specks. They clung deeply, fused as though always his. But Lin Moyu sensed this aura was not his. It came from outside. He found the same within the soul. Specks of alien brilliance, tangled within his essence. So, these are the curse. Let's see, can it be erased? He knew it was near arrogance, trying to pit himself against the mark of a supreme. But he could not help himself. His death Dao flame slipped forth, brushing a speck. Instantly it flared dim light, resisting the force. Death's corrosion gnawed, but the speck endured, impossibly tough. No matter his effort, it could not fall. Deep within, he sensed it. A trembling sliver of horror, far above his level. There was no mistake. This was the residue of a supreme's power. The specks webbed both soul and flesh, spreading slowly. When they fully joined, curse would explode. That would be the end of Xiaopeng. The only place untouched was his bloodline itself, refuge, even from a supreme. Lin Moyu scowled, whispering, "This will not be simple." Xiaopeng chuckled softly. "Don't fret, father. 100,000 years still. If need be, I die. Till then, I'll see much of chaos." But Lin Moyu's eyes gleamed cold. 100,000 years, no. Let's see what becomes of me against a supreme's curse. Such a challenge is interesting. He said lowly, "Bear with me. It may hurt." Oh, Xiaopeng nodded obediently, closing his eyes, bracing for pain. 4314, 4314. Chapter 4314, at least it speaks. The power of death poured endlessly into Xiaopeng's body, flowing throughout his form, unraveling into countless fine threads that struck at the cursed light spots. This time Lin Moyu channeled a staggering amount of death power. Though he handled it with utmost precision, its corrosive nature could not be removed. No matter how careful, some harm was inevitable. In small amounts, that harm was nearly unnoticeable. But at this massive scale, Xiaopeng's flesh began to corrode. The young rock trembled violently, as if pierced by 10,000 thorns. Yet despite the agony, he held firm, refusing to let even a whimper escape. He trusted Lin Moyu. That trust was strange, perhaps born from the loneliness embedded in his kind. The chaos lone rock was destined to solitude. Yet in this all-consuming emptiness, he had found someone who stayed by him. The wave of death power enveloped the light specks fully. Each speck pulsed faint light, struggling against the tide. They were fragments of the Supreme's curse, weak in intensity, but unyielding beyond imagination. Death alone could not erase them. And yet surrounded by it, their spread slowed. So long as they were wrapped in death essence, the curse's eruption was delayed. Xiaopeng's lifespan leapt from 10,000 to 1,000,000 years. Then, a second power followed. The power of life. Xiaopeng, who had been writhing in silent torment, suddenly slumped in bliss. The pain melted into ecstasy, so overwhelming he nearly howled in relief. Life followed death, wrapping it, balancing it. They were twin forces born from the immortality Tao, both enemies and kin, forever opposing, forever interwoven. With life flowing constant, death no longer threatened to burn out. They endured together, pressing endlessly against the curse. A supreme's curse could not be erased by a small chaos cultivator such as Lin Moyu. But slowed, suppressed, yes. He did not realize how monumental this feat was. That a chaos lesser completion could use his immortality Tao to contend against a supreme's power, unthinkable. If word spread, all of chaos would fall silent in disbelief. The curse spots in Xiaopeng's flesh were subdued. Now Lin Moyu sent death into his soul. This was worse. The pain was 1,000-fold greater. Soul corrosion was agony without end, but so too was life's balm 1,000-fold sweeter. Xiaopeng shivered, his body convulsing like a broken gong. His jaw clattered with a harsh metallic rhythm. The torment drove him near madness, half death, half paradise. But still he did not cry out. He trusted Lin Moyu, he must endure. Lin Moyu's focus sharpened to a razor. He traced the deepest reaches of Xiaopeng's soul. Each speck he found he wrapped in death, and then in life, one by one, carefully, untiring. 10 days passed. Finally, it was done. Lin Moyu exhaled slowly, drained. There, you now have at least 1,000,000 years. 100,000 had become 1,000,000. The young rock's eyes glistened in joy. Then, may I shout? He was ecstatic, needing to release the breath in his chest, yet still asked, afraid of disturbing his father. Lin Moyu laughed. Go on. Xiaopeng opened his beak and roared. The scream lanced through the soul like a blade, an attack innate to his kind. Any being below Chaos Realm would have their spirit shattered by it. But Lin Moyu was untouched, wrapped unconsciously in his rock's protective aura. The Chaos Chi itself cracked, scattered into streams from the call. For several long minutes, the rock vented until at last he fell silent, chest heaving. Lin Moyu only nodded, understanding. The curse's weight, pressing down since birth, had finally eased. He placed a chaos fruit by his beak. Eat this. Xiaopeng devoured it without hesitation. The fruit burst in his mouth, blazing warmth rushing through body and soul. His aura soared, his chaotification rapidly accelerated, bloodline unlocking further. Eyes wide, he chirped excitedly. Father, my bloodline it awakened more. Lin Moyu nodded. Good, refine it well, with enough of these, you'll awaken completely. Then we'll crack the curse. Thank you, Father, his voice rang with joy. But then both stiffened, a cry resounded in the distance. Chaos Chi boiled, rolling waves echoing. A great being was closing fast. Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes. A blazing soul flame came into view, immense in size. Another chaos creature, strong, but not yet chaos lesser completion. You summoned it with your roar, Lin Moyu murmured. I'll fight it, Xiaopeng cried, wings unfurling, and dived ahead savagely. Battle erupted instantly, thunderous. Lin Moyu remained still, a chaos beast fighting another natural order. Roars, shrieks, crashes split the void. Soon, Xiaopeng dragged back a half-dead creature in his talons. It was bizarre, a great bird with two pairs of wings, head like a rooster, a short tail like a rabbit's fluff. Thrown before Lin Moyu like trash, it lay wounded everywhere. Father, Xiaopeng asked proudly, shall I kill it or eat it? Lin Moyu regarded the being. Do you know what kind of chaos creature it is? Xiaopeng shook his head. There are infinite kinds. Few form proper races. Most are mutations of countless generations. Its blood is impure, which is why it's weak. Then, can it be eaten? Of course. Most chaos beasts are edible. Lin Moyu's gaze shifted to the creature. And you, can you speak? The strange bird twitched, stunned, then croaked faintly. I can. Lin Moyu smiled faintly. At least you can talk. That means the blood isn't entirely useless. 4315. 4315. Chapter 4315, The Divine Phoenix Clan. Chaos-born lifeforms came in many kinds. Some possessed little to no intelligence, mere beasts that could not communicate, existing only to eat and sleep. Such creatures, born of chaos itself, held immense raw power but lacked paths of ascension. They did not worry about lifespan, however, without consciousness of time, their endless eternity was its own blessing. A second type held great wisdom, on par with cultivators. These were true chaos races, intelligent, powerful, bound by ambitions as great as any mortal sect. Xiaopeng's own species, the Chaos Lone Rock, belonged to this rarest category, once daring even to challenge a supreme. Such races were few, but they stood as the dominant pillars of all chaos creatures. The third kind were mixed, creatures of partial bloodlines, mutations, or sudden awakenings. Perhaps born of hybrid unions, or sudden ancestral eruptions, or random bloodline changes, they possessed fragments of intelligence. Their numbers were many, their qualities scattered. Thus, as Xiaopeng often said, chaos was messy. Anything could happen. The chicken-headed, rabbit-tailed mutant bird before Lin Moyu now might have come from generations of such mixtures. But since it had some measure of mind and speech, Lin Moyu tested it. Do you know where this is? He asked. Chaos, the strange bird replied honestly. Lin Moyu gave a wry smile. He had asked a foolish question. Indeed, this was chaos. More specifically, what part of chaos? The bird only blinked blankly. Clearly, it had no understanding. Do you at least know of divisions among chaos regions? Lin Moyu continued. Again, the vacant gaze. It knew nothing. At last, Xiaopeng interjected. Father, are you trying to find out where we are exactly? Yes, said Lin Moyu. Chaos is split 4 poles and 3 domains. We must know which one we occupy. Xiaopeng pondered a moment, then declared. This should be the central domain. Lin Moyu raised an eyebrow. Why central? Because only in central domain do you find creatures like this bird, Xiaopeng explained, conviction steady. My bloodline memories say in the central domain there is a powerful clan named the Divine Phoenix Clan. They were the progenitor race of all avians in chaos. Long ago, they summoned every bird-like chaos being into their fold. Thus, outside Central, bird-type chaos lifeforms no longer exist. Lin Moyu was startled. So even such laws govern chaos. Bloodline memory truly is a treasure. Indeed, to inherit the records of countless generations was priceless. Unlike worldly spirit beasts whose ancestral memories diluted with time, the rocks retained immense clarity. Xiaopeng quoted an old saying embedded in his bloodline. Success through bloodline, failure through bloodline. It is our cornerstone, and our cage. It grants us strength, but makes us fragile. We lean on it too much, seeking shortcuts. In the end, it limits us. To reach the realm of a supreme becomes nearly impossible. Lin Moyu nodded, smiling faintly. Your ancestors were wise indeed. No wonder you were so strong as a race. But Xiaopeng continued darkly. And others among us said, wisdom made us proud, that pride drove us to seek the Supreme's throne, and that arrogance earned us curse and destruction. Lin Moyu sighed. The rank of Supreme is not won through effort alone. Chance, fate, heavens, will they all matter? What do your memories say of the Divine Phoenix Clan? Xiaopeng thought. There is not much recorded, save one line, the Divine Phoenix is no survival better than us. Lin Moyu's brows rose. Survival over ambition. He quickly understood the Phoenixes had not vied for the Supreme's place. Perhaps they even submitted, choosing instead to thrive under a Supreme's protection. Central Domain's Supremes were the old man in green robes and the old man in white robes. The Phoenix clan did not rule here. To endure, it made sense. Attach yourself as vassals. Do you know anything else of Central's situation? Xiaopeng shook his head. No further details, but I believe there should be sects and factions here. If Father finds such a power, you will learn quickly. But beware, some false sects in chaos are deadly. Be cautious. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. Yes, we'll find one, and learn what we can. He needed to know exactly where in Central they were and how to leave if necessary. He also felt the vast world tugging a distant link to him, but the distance was vast beyond reckoning. 10,000 years of flight might not suffice. He needed another way. Surely, chaos held faster roots. Surely, in such a realm, rules must exist even amid savagery. Even Supremes could not allow utter anarchy in their domains. As they prepared to leave, Xiaopeng asked, what about this strange bird? Eat it, Lin Moyu said simply. It'll aid your cultivation. Delighted, Xiaopeng let out a cry, spitting unique flame. The creature burst aflame, sizzling into roasted flesh. The rich aroma spread. With one blow, Xiaopeng dispersed the burnt crust, then devoured the meat whole. He licked his beak, eyes shining. Ancestors' words were true. Any avian with phoenix blood, no matter how ugly, tastes marvelous. Indeed, his bloodline had logged knowledge from countless generations. Though he had awakened only a part, the body of wisdom was vast. As his power rose, more would come. Lin Moyu shook his head in amazement. Truly, he had stumbled on treasure. And then he remembered, he still carried that one chaos egg. Could it tie to the Divine Phoenix clan as well? Pulling it from his storage, he asked, look, any connection? Xiaopeng gazed a long time, then finally shook his head. There seems to be phoenix blood, but extremely faint. Lin Moyu's eyes flashed. Even weak, there was a connection. He did not believe the egg unremarkable. Perhaps, he murmured, through this egg, I can find the Divine Phoenix clan. And if so, perhaps answers to many questions he now faced in chaos. Silently, he drew forth the cause-seeking ring. 4316. 4316. Chapter 4316, Hatching the Egg. The cause-seeking ring was inferior only in combat, but in all other respects, it was heaven-defying. Even Lin Moyu couldn't fathom how such a treasure had been born in chaos itself. With bloodline as the guide, seek cause, ask effect. He activated the ring, using the bloodline within the egg in his hand as the catalyst to seek its kin. Powerful backlash struck at once. Cracks spread across his skin, but unlike before, he did not shatter into pieces. This time, he only received minor wounds. A gleam of joy lit his eyes. Never before had he used the cause-seeking ring without dying at least once. This meant his strength had advanced enormously. The artifact was truly one of chaos, supreme-grade treasures. No wonder it was so perilous to wield. With a thought, Immortality Dao's life force surged and restored him instantly. The ring then unfolded to full effect. Invisible threads of cause and effect wound themselves around Lin Moyu. Undetectable to the eye, but undeniably real. From this point forward, whatever direction he chose, it would inevitably lead to the Divine Phoenix clan. He climbed onto Xiaopeng's back, casually pointed ahead. That way. Xiaopeng gave no hesitation. Spreading vast wings, he surged into the howling seas of chaos chi, speed nearly on par with the mythic duo A fairy. The fairy excelled in defense, but Xiaopeng's speed was rivaling it. As they traveled, neither wasted the journey. Xiaopeng drank chaos chi greedily, using his innate bloodline and the assistance of chaos fruits to accelerate his chaotification. His strength grew swiftly. Lin Moyu, meanwhile, focused on fusing his immortality Dao with chaos chi, pulling the atmosphere of chaos through his Dao. As of now, his strength drew primarily from his immortality Dao, with chaos chi supporting. That was the first step of Chaos Realm lesser completion. But one day, when the balance shifted, when chaos became primary, and Dao auxiliary, then the amount of power he could draw would increase 1,000-fold, his strength magnified as greatly. That would be Chaos Realm great completion. And when that was achieved, should he elevate his domain enough to merge Dao, domain force, and chaos chi into one, he would tread perfection. The gulf would again multiply 100-fold. This was no short path. One had to comprehend deeply the rules of chaos, hidden within the chi itself, a foundation not easily grasped. To Lin Moyu's eyes, enlightenment was becoming one with chaos. Chaos-born beings had the advantage from birth. But as Xiaopeng himself admitted, what was blessing was also limitation. The ceiling of bloodline was secure. Among the Supremes, Lin Moyu asked suddenly, were there any chaos creatures? Xiaopeng shook his great head. I don't know. My bloodline doesn't carry knowledge of the Supremes. Supremes were too distant, too mysterious. Not even his rock bloodline preserved information of them. Or maybe, as Lin Moyu suspected, Xiaopeng's current strength was too low to access that memory. After all, his race once challenged Supremes. They must have known. 100 days of flight passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Moyu felt himself vastly far from his 5-domain world, but when he sensed for the vast world, the distance did not lessen nor grow. Even after Xiaopeng flew ceaselessly, as fast as lightning, spanning the origin continent in one breath, or piercing the 5-domain world in a few days, the distance in chaos was unchanged. Here, 100 days of flight was like not moving at all. Such was chaos. He could only marvel. They had fought 2 battles in that time. Guided by his Eye of the Undead, Lin Moyu steered Xiaopeng to dine on chaos creatures of equal rank. Chaos beasts were useful, not as potent as chaos fruits, but invaluable supplements nonetheless. Then, 100 days later, the egg he carried suddenly pulsed with light. From the moment Lin Moyu retrieved it, the egg had been drawing in chaos chi. Now, after endless absorption, it stirred with vitality. A heartbeat resounded faintly within. Scarlet blood lines seeped across its shell, spreading like streams. In 2 days, the entire egg veined with crimson, liquid seeming to flow within. Once a dead stone, now alive. Xiaopeng's eyes narrowed. Its bloodline has awakened. A divine phoenix. Lin Moyu asked, why now? Either it has neared its clan, Xiaopeng answered, or neared its parents. Stimulation awoke the bloodline. Lin Moyu knew he was heading toward the divine phoenix. That explained it. Days passed. The egg's aura skyrocketed tenfold, then again, with no pause in growth. Xiaopeng finally admitted, Father, I was wrong. Its bloodline is strong. How strong? I can't define it precisely, but it's not mixed. Pure, maybe within 5 generations. In a race as vast as the Phoenix, to preserve bloodline unbroken within 5 generations was significant. Judging from momentum, when this one hatched, it would be born at least at Dao Lord Realm, perhaps eternal. Not quite Xiaopeng's level, but still overwhelmingly powerful. Upon adulthood, it would naturally rise into Chaos Realm. Lin Moyu observed silently as growth continued. In the egg, a soul flame already burned like fire. He could easily implant a slave mark now, forcing obedience. Or he could kill it at hatching, revive it through undead summoning, making it his servitor. But he did none of that. Instead he aided it. Even feeding it chaos fruit to bolster foundation. Its bloodline flared brighter as a result. To all onlookers, it might seem absurd Lin Moyu was hatching the egg. After nearly 200 days on Xiaopeng's wings, the egg finally trembled with the power of birth. Its bloodlines shone brilliantly, pulsing with the force of a 4th-generation phoenix, stronger than he had dared expect. A clear heartbeat shook the void, booming through chaos. Radiance erupted, endless streams of multicolored phoenix light painting the chaotic sea. Piercing cries echoed, sharp and holy, for leagues without end. The chaos chi ahead split apart, swept by divine aurora. And from the storm of light descended a divine phoenix, tail feathers spanning 10,000 li. The newborn phoenix cried its first sacred call, heralding its arrival into chaos. 4317, 4317. Chapter 4317, The Fallen Feather World. In his chats with Xiaopeng, the young rock often mentioned the divine phoenix clan. According to him, they were a wise and powerful race. Their ancestors, unlike the arrogant chaos lone rock, were not overly ambitious. Rather, they had carved their bloodline a way of survival to live long and prosper amid chaos. But make no mistake, prudence did not diminish their power. And they were beautiful, male or female. The divine phoenix were regarded as the epitome of nobility and grace among chaos-born life. Now, at last, Lin Moyu saw one himself. Even at a distance, the phoenix was breathtaking. Wreathed in rainbow light, its wingspan spread 1,000,000 meters across, tail feathers flowing like rivers of dawn. Then came the aura, overwhelming, majestic. Chaos realm great completion. Lin Moyu whispered to himself. A 7-feather divine phoenix, a 3rd-generation bloodline phoenix. The phoenix hierarchy. Within their clan, status depended on bloodline generation. The more refined, the purer the higher. The ancestor phoenix bore 12 golden feathers, standing supreme even among perfections. The 1st-generation bloodline held 9, known as 9-feather phoenixes. Each generation lost 1 golden feather. By the 5th, only 5 remained, the bare minimum for the clan to be considered a true divine phoenix. Below 5 diluted blood, not worthy of the name. This one bore 7 powerful great completion, a mid-tier noble within his kin. But the phoenix did not attack. Instead it focused, intent gaze locked squarely on Lin Moyu's hand. On the divine phoenix egg. Who are you? The phoenix's voice rang, restrained but heavy. He did not strike. Even though Lin Moyu was only chaos lesser completion, and Xiaopeng had yet to step fully into the same, he still refrained. It was wisdom. Striking unknowns could pull hidden powers upon you. Lin Moyu clasped his hands. Greetings, senior. I obtained this egg by chance. I sought your noble clan to return it. The phoenix's aura eased at once. His voice softened. You came to return this egg? Then how did you find us? Then he answered his own thought. Ah. Cause and effect. You haven't mastered that Tao, so you must carry a karmic treasure. But suddenly his tone turned sharp. Did you tamper with this egg? Is there some scheme here? An unseen power surged. Lin Moyu's soul shook, mind dazed for a moment. It was a soul secret technique, one that distorted thoughts, making falsehood impossible. Lin Moyu stiffened but quickly recovered. His voice was hard. I, Lin Moyu, walk upright. I've never dirtied my hand with such tricks. If senior insists otherwise, then I am disappointed. I thought the divine phoenix clan famed for fairness and honor, heirs of billions of years. But it seems. He cut himself off coldly. Enough. If so, I will leave. Here your egg. He tossed it forward and turned firmly away. Xiaopeng, go. The rock obeyed at once, wings sweeping them into flight. But after only moments, light blazed before them. The phoenix had moved like teleportation, blocking their path again. Lin Moyu's voice flattened, edged with frost. Does senior mean to stop me? The phoenix shook his head quickly. You misunderstand. To return the egg shows great kindness. How could we repay kindness with harm? It is only that circumstances in our clan have been troubled. I doubted rashly. For that, forgive me. I have confirmed the egg is untainted. You have brought great merit to my people. So please visit our clan. Allow us to repay you with honor. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. You won't detain me. Never. You may leave whenever you wish. No fetters. Lin Moyu thought briefly. Then he nodded. Very well. I also wish to see the famed wonders of the Phoenix clan. I'll stay a while. Excellent. I shall lead the way. As the Phoenix guided them, Xiaopeng transmitted nervously. Father, something feels wrong. They seem to covet something. Lin Moyu smiled faintly in secret reply. Of course. That egg is unusual. I saw it in his eyes. He must ensure I've done nothing to it. And until then he'll watch me closely. Calling it an invitation is softer diction. And their reputation, it binds them too. They dare not besmirch their name by outright treachery. Lastly, my position. Too young, yet I hold a domain, and I ride a chaos rock. He suspects what force stands behind me. He will not risk rashness. Xiao Peng gaped. You think of so many layers at once. Lin Moyu chuckled. These are just what I see. Likely more beneath. All the better I wished to visit a great clan of chaos. Let's see what the phoenix live like. The seven-feather phoenix unfurled his aura, scattering chaos itself ahead of them. In his wake stretched a glorious river of light, cutting through the darkness of the void. It was arrogant, perhaps. Yet it displayed his confidence openly. Even mighty chaos beasts shrank aside as he passed. And then, Lin Moyu saw it ahead, a world of dazzling glow. Chaos dispersed, revealing brilliance. A vast, circular continent suspended in the void. Cities sprawled across it, vast oceans of soul flames burning like stars. The entire world shimmered in radiance, shielding itself wholly from chaos. It was no natural domain but a crafted world. Forged, most likely, by a chaos perfection realm being. The phoenix's voice rang proudly. This is the fallen feather world. The domain of King Luoyu. One of our 8 kings. A mighty perfection powerhouse, bearer of second-generation bloodline and 8-feather phoenix. As he proclaimed this, his own form shimmered. From phoenix to human, refined and graceful. On the back of his hand gleamed 7 golden feathers, badge of his noble class. Lin Moyu gazed ahead at the radiant continent. The Phoenix clan awaited. 4318, 4318. Chapter 4318, The Three Phoenix Festival. The 7-feather divine phoenix transformed into human form, bowing in greeting. My name is Peng Qi, of the Divine Phoenix clan, under King Luoyu. I welcome Taoist Lin to the fallen feather world. I will arrange proper lodgings for you, and appoint a guide to show you our lands. Lin Moyu smiled lightly. Thank you, Senior Peng. Then I shall accept with respect. A stream of radiance stretched from fallen feather world, becoming a dazzling pathway. It drew them inward. Xiao Peng, too, shifted into human form, following at Lin Moyu's side. He was not yet grown, his transformation that of a boy barely in his early teens, adorable and bright-eyed. When Peng Qi saw him, his expression flickered with surprise. Even in childhood, Xiao Peng held half-step chaos realm strength. Such bloodline was uncommon. Within the Divine Phoenix clan, a child that powerful would require at least a 3rd-generation bloodline. Fallen feather world grew vast in their sight. There were 8 massive cities rising from the land, and beyond them stretched endless mountain ranges. Those 8 cities formed a ring, encircling a central sacred mountain. It soared upwards endlessly, as though to pierce through to the heavens, joining chaos itself. Though fallen feather world was not quite a domain, it exuded the aura of one, clearly refined by mighty hands. Nearing it, Lin Moyu's senses confirmed everything. He posed no questions. Peng Qi supplied no unnecessary explanations. They landed within one of the 8 cities. Its name, Fallen Feather 7th City. Unlike mortal cities, no walls encircled it. Buildings scattered without organization, yet formed their own unique rhythm. Countless people moved within their soul flames igniting the streets, throngs everywhere. What startled Lin Moyu was this: many were not Phoenix at all. Many were outsiders. Even more, many of these outsiders had realms far below Chaos Realm, some only Tao Lords. Lin Moyu betrayed no reaction, but inside he noted everything. And Peng Qi was watching him for exactly that, some slip of emotion. Lin Moyu gave him none. A young woman at half-step Chaos Realm hurried to bow deeply before Peng Qi. City Lord. Peng Qi nodded calmly. This is Taoist Lin. He is a distinguished guest. Prepare a comfortable residence. Be his guide in these coming days. Take him through Fallen Feather World. Whatever he requires, fulfill it. Do not slight him. The young woman answered with utmost respect. This servant understands. I am Peng Jing. After giving further instructions, Peng Qi departed. True enough, Lin Moyu's lodgings were lavish, an expansive courtyard filled with attendants. But he had no illusions. Peng Qi's politeness did not stem from gratitude. It was not Lin Moyu he valued but the divine phoenix egg. Had Lin Moyu dared do anything to it, his fate would have been miserable indeed. Gratitude had little worth in chaos. Power, leverage, and bloodline mattered not sentiment. The attendants were simple weaker subspecies of the phoenix bloodline. They were those who had failed to manifest at least 5 golden feathers, without which they could not be recognized as true divine phoenix. These offshoots were called variants or subspecies. Among outsiders, it was a slur. But within the phoenix, it was an incentive. These people trained with desperation, striving to shed that status and awaken enough lineage to join as full phoenix. Pang Jing carefully instructed Lin Moyu. If Taoist has any need, call me. She bowed and withdrew, leaving him undisturbed. In the courtyard, Xiaopeng muttered quietly. I didn't expect him not to be a king. Lin Moyu answered smoothly. He is still Chaos Realm Great Completion, and a 7-feather phoenix besides. To serve as a city lord is natural enough. Among the Phoenix, Great Completion cultivators were not uncountable, but within a single clan their total was greatly fewer. Pang Qi's status was solid. More than that, as a 7-feather, his bloodline could yet rise. He looked toward the mountain beyond. If he awakens further, he may become 8-feather. At that point, he will ascend to perfection, and join the ranks of their Phoenix kings. Xiaopeng blinked, stunned. Father, how do you know this? Lin Moyu smiled faintly. I overheard. Xiaopeng tilted his head. Overheard, but that shouldn't be possible. Lin Moyu chuckled. Once, true, but now, after accepting an exchange with the Tianting beast, the legendary discernment beast, he had gained a secret technique. It was called heavenly listening. From that bloodline talent, he could now eavesdrop across extraordinary ranges, undetectable, voices carried to his mind like whispers. At his current strength, he could cover half a domain. This single 7th city, he could sweep it entirely. Xiaopeng leaned close. What else have you heard? Nothing much, Lin Moyu said. Trivial matters of little weight. Only that Pang Qi has already taken the egg and gone toward Luoyu Mountain. That is where King Luoyu dwells. Clearly, this egg is of major importance. Lin Moyu allowed himself a sigh of relief. He was glad he had not tampered with it. But curiosity stirred deeply in him. What was so special about this egg? He remembered how the Lord of Fate Dao had placed this egg in his hands. Only telling him it was laid when a bird of chaos strayed into a domain. Even the Lord of Fate hadn't known of the Phoenix clan. Now, here they were at its heart. Xiaopeng's eyes sparkled. Seems it's quite important to them. I wonder how they'll thank us. Lin Moyu smiled coldly. Don't expect thanks. Better to watch, learn, and leave. If they insist on forcing a reward, then it's a debt of favor. That's worth far more than any item. Xiaopeng nodded. Then I'll listen to father. Lin Moyu spread heavenly listening once again, stretching to hear the city. But most conversations came from lowly attendants. Their knowledge was shallow. True Phoenix spoke through transmissions, concealed, impossible to overhear. Still, he noted one thing clearly. Though they stood in Phoenix territory, true Phoenix were scarce. Ordinary human-like cultivators filled the streets far more numerous. In only a single day observed, the number of such outsiders increased noticeably. On the second day, Pang Jing returned. She offered the formal human bow, treating him as a guest of highest courtesy. Taoist Lin, the 3 Phoenix Festival will soon begin. Would you care to attend? 4319, 4319. Chapter 4319, The Reforged Domain. Pang Jing explained to Lin Moyu the origins of the 3 Phoenix Festival. The festival was one of the most important occasions for the Divine Phoenix clan. The 3 Phoenixes were the Purple Gold Divine Phoenix, Black Gold Divine Phoenix, and White Gold Divine Phoenix. After the Divine Phoenix ancestor birthed the first generation of bloodline, it split into these 3 phoenixes. After their birth, the ancestor disappeared without trace. From then on, the entire Divine Phoenix clan was founded, structured, and expanded by these 3. Thus, to honor them, the 3 Phoenix Festival was created. It was said the dates of the festival mark the very days the 3 phoenixes were born. The festival occurred every 10,000 years, lasting 3 full centuries. Each century celebrated one of the phoenixes. At Lin Moyu's arrival, the Black Gold Phoenix century had just ended. The next 100 years were for the Purple Gold Phoenix. Each of the 3 Divine Phoenixes oversaw different roles. The Black Gold Phoenix governed battle and combat. The White Gold Phoenix administered internal clan matters. The Purple Gold Phoenix oversaw bloodline and cultivation. Each also guarded a unique divine plant. The Purple Gold Phoenix owned a godly fruit tree, the Purple Gold Tree. Every 10,000 years, the tree bore fruit. These fruits were wondrous. If consumed by a phoenix, they evolved their bloodline. If consumed by outsiders, they boosted cultivation and strengthened foundations. So long as the individual was below perfection realm, the fruit carried use. And unlike most sacred items, these could be consumed without limit multiple fruits, each with benefit. Thus, across chaos, countless cultivators coveted the purple gold fruit. When the purple gold century came, outsiders from far and wide gathered in the Phoenix clan's lands, praying for a share. And each time, the purple gold phoenix divided the fruits into 3 portions. One kept for himself, one shared among Phoenix clansmen, one given freely to outsiders. Pang Jing smiled gently. Taoist Lin, your timing is fortuitous. Perhaps you may gain purple gold fruit yourself. Xiaopeng frowned, childish face creasing. But why would the purple gold phoenix share such treasures with outsiders? Wouldn't it be better to keep all, so the clan grows stronger? And even if they wished to distribute, they could trade for countless treasures from others. To simply give them, is that not foolish? Pang Jing answered softly, on this, I do not know the true reason. But it is said the purple gold phoenix once declared, when fortune swells to overflow, disaster follows. One must not be too greedy, or else entangle cause and effect, and suffer endless calamity. Because of Pang Qi's instructions, Pang Jing treated Lin Moyu and Xiaopeng with great politeness, answering all questions directly. Lin Moyu mused aloud. It seems the purple gold phoenix understands the Tao of cause and effect and the Tao of fate extraordinarily well. Pang Jing nodded cheerfully. Whatever the reason, it scarcely matters. What is important, Taoist Lin, is that you may be chosen to receive purple gold fruit. Such a chance is priceless. Intrigue sparked in Lin Moyu's eyes. Tell me more about these fruits. Pang Jing became animated, her voice flowing eagerly. Having once eaten a fruit herself, she spoke from experience. She described it as a miracle, her face swelling with pride. Among so many, only a handful received such a fruit every 10,000 years. Her fruit had bolstered her strength massively. Her bloodline advanced from 5 feathers to 6. She believed that with more fruits, she could reach 7 one day, perhaps equal to Pang Qi. Xiaopeng had eagerly listened at first, but afterwards his expression dulled. In his eyes, the purple gold fruit was nothing compared to a chaos fruit. Bloodline memory told him much of chaos treasures. The purple gold fruit merely drew out already latent potential. It could only magnify what was there. Once the well ran dry, it could do nothing. But chaos fruit, it created potential from nothing, fabricating foundations where none existed. That was beyond compare. He had consumed some himself in recent days. He knew their true impact. Still, Lin Moyu intercepted his look, giving him a sharp glance. Do not speak. Xiaopeng wisely remained silent, painting his features with mock admiration as if still excited for purple gold fruits. Pang Jing, young and guileless, continued speaking openly, unaware she was being drawn out. Lin Moyu subtly steered questions, learning more. From her, he uncovered the true nature of Fallen Feather World. It was indeed a domain, but not original. It was the crippled remains of a perfection realm being's domain. Long ago, King Luoyu of the Phoenix slew a chaos perfection powerhouse in battle. Using a mysterious treasure, he stabilized the shattered domain, reforged it, and transformed it into the world they now dwelled in. Each of the Phoenix clan's 8 kings possessed such a realm. The 8 ringed their ancestral land, shields and bastions both. Within each world, 8 cities encircled a sacred mountain, the stronghold of each king. And within the Phoenix clan, only ancestors reached the 12-feathered peak. Among later generations, the limit was 9 feathers. Today, only the 3 phoenixes themselves bore 9 golden feathers. All others maxed at 8. As they walked Fallen Feather 7th City, Lin Moyu marveled at its vastness. From east to west it spanned millions of miles, each stretched like an entire miniature world. The city sprawled like a labyrinth. From the sky it misled the eye, projected illusions. Inside, it unfolded like a maze, chaotic, yet patterned somehow. He passed mountains, rivers, towers shaped like nests reaching tens of thousands of meters. Some phoenix preferred to stay in avian form, their mansions built accordingly. The main road broadened, and a roar of activity filled the air. Ahead emerged a colossal plaza. Suspended in air floated multiple gigantic battle platforms. Combat raged upon them continuously. Crowds pressed upward, hovering in the air, watching the duels. Pang Jing explained with a smile. This is the arena. During the 3 Phoenix Festival, this is one of the events. Those who perform best here may be awarded purple gold fruit. 4320. 4320. Chapter 4320. The true purpose of the purple gold divine phoenix. When Pang Jing spoke earlier, she only said there was a chance to obtain purple gold fruit, not that victory alone guaranteed it. Lin Moyu asked, is there a specific rule? Pang Jing shook her head. There should be rules, but they are known only to the purple gold divine phoenix. We mortals do not know. From past records, winners usually had higher chances of receiving the fruit. But there were also losers granted fruit. So, it is unpredictable. And because of this, whether win or lose, many still climb the stage. It has become a performance, more than a contest. She spoke truthfully, holding nothing back. Xiaopeng muttered, so win or lose doesn't matter. Then it's simply decided by the purple gold phoenix's personal whim. That's no rule at all. Pang Jing immediately retorted, there must be rules, though not revealed. The purple gold phoenix wouldn't act entirely by whim. Xiaopeng scoffed, he's one of the strongest of the chaos perfection realm. If he did act whimsically, who could stop him? Who other than a supreme could contradict him? Both arguments held weight. Neither side was really wrong. Lin Moyu's sharp eyes studied the platforms. Subtly, he began to see through hidden threads. Meanwhile, at the Fallen Feather Sacred Peak, stronghold of King Luoyu, trusted phoenix gathered. Only true phoenix could enter. Pang Qi had delivered the precious egg back here. King Luoyu himself took the egg, carefully checking every detail. He repeated his inspection many times over. At last, he confirmed, Lin Moyu truly had left no tampering on it. Yet, the egg itself was extraordinary. His expression deepened. This is no ordinary divine phoenix egg. Its bloodline is extremely high. At least 7-feathered, maybe it could even awaken into 8. For such an egg to appear outside, almost impossible. That in itself was suspicious. Pang Qi, you say the human cultivator claimed he acquired it by accident. Yes, Pang Qi answered firmly. That's truly what he said. I followed him secretly for days when I found him with the egg. He was flying directly toward Phoenix territory, as if intending to return it. And what's more, he even nurtured the egg continuously with chaos qi. King Luoyu's expression tightened. He was great completion, far above Lin Moyu's current cultivation, so his secret surveillance went unnoticed. Even had Lin Moyu sensed it, he would have hidden his awareness. This matter is strange. We rarely find phoenix eggs outside. One of this caliber 7 to 8 feather potential. To leak into the open, impossible. This must be investigated. I must report it to the purple gold divine phoenix. He released his aura. Power surged across heaven and earth. Divine light speared into chaos itself. Moments later, in the air appeared a projection. A magnificent phoenix, entirely golden purple, arcs of lightning crackling along its body. King Luoyu bowed deeply. Greetings, purple gold divine phoenix. Pang Qi fell to the ground in full prostration. A crisp, sharp voice resounded. Luoyu, why do you summon me? King Luoyu raised the egg respectfully. Pang Qi returned with this egg. It was found in the wild. I believe its bloodline not less than 7 feather, perhaps 8. An extraordinary egg. He recounted every detail, though conventionally it should have been Pang Qi himself. But clearly Pang Qi was unqualified to address the purple gold divine phoenix directly. The severity of phoenix hierarchy was plain. The purple gold phoenix locked blazing eyes on the egg, divine purple light spilling, faint lightning arcing from them. After a long silence, he whispered softly. Perhaps, this relates to that matter. King Luoyu's heart skipped violently. He longed to ask what that matter was but dared not. The purple gold phoenix did not explain. His intent was concealed, but his earlier expression had betrayed something strange, something grave. This egg is not ordinary, said the purple gold phoenix at last. I will send someone to collect it. Until then, treat that human guest kindly. Do not offend him. King Luoyu bowed again. As you command. Only when the projection faded did Pang Qi dare rise. He whispered, my lord. Luoyu cut him off with a wave. Do not involve yourself further. The purple gold phoenix will send someone. This means it is no small matter. Do nothing except host the human. Pang Qi understood instantly. Yes, I will comply. Luoyu's eyes softened minutely. You've done well. When purple gold fruits are distributed, you will have one. Pang Qi's eyes blazed with joy. Many thanks, King. To him, purple gold fruits were vital. With enough, he could break through to 8 feathers. An achievement worthy of becoming equal to Luoyu himself. But one fruit was never enough. He needed more, by any means. Back in the 7th city, Lin Moyu continued observing the great platforms. He seemed a spectator, yet he studied not the fighters, but the formations etched into the rings. Chaos runes. The array appeared surface level to shield the battles, keeping force from spilling across the city. But deeper, it hid another layer, measuring potential. Lin Moyu's sharp gaze pierced all. Yes, here was the truth. The purple gold fruit wasn't simply handed to winners. The platform arrays tested the latent potential of each participant. That explained why some losers received fruit while some winners did not. Purple gold fruit only revealed a cultivator's hidden strength, amplifying it. But if no potential remained, then it was virtually useless. Yet throughout history, none had ever claimed the fruit failed. Why? Because it was given only to those with the greatest buried potential. This was the truth behind the mystery. But Lin Moyu's brow furrowed. Why? Why would the purple gold divine phoenix so ensure that only those with potential obtained the fruit? Why gift so many to outsiders at all? The implication was unsettling. It reminded him of the human emperors, trading square, of old an apparent convenience for cultivators but in truth a mechanism of control. The purple gold phoenix must have deeper designs. Lin Moyu resolved. If he could obtain even a few purple gold fruits, he would study them intensively. His musings caught Pang Jing's notice. Mistaking the intent, she quickly said, "Taoist Lin, would you like to try the platform? With your cultivation, the chance of you winning purple gold fruit is very great." It was clear she was flattering him. To her, his chaos lesser completion was respectable, but hardly unmatched. Lin Moyu only shook his head with a calm smile. "My strength is meager. I'll not make a fool of myself. Let's see elsewhere." Pang Jing nodded respectfully. Just then a sharp, furious shout cracked the air. "Lin Moyu,